did not pursue that, any further with any other question. And that was where I had a question here, which asked if they actually presented before the ARB because they might have a sense of what it's like to be in front of a 4 or 5 person panel, and that may influence why they may have had a scary experience in the past and we decided single person might be more interesting. And then the last thing I handed out, again, when we get into let's go ahead and open the hearing, and then we'll talk about proceeding on the recommendations.
You have a little later where I have to read where I read is not appropriate.
Yes, exactly. I rather than have to do make the changes on the fly or the wording and stuff like that, I tried to.
I was thinking about that.
Yeah. Not every combination, there's something I want to work on is the multiple hearing panels, the multiple hearing scripts, because what we tend to do is we'll swear in for all of them, but then announce and go through each one. So a lot of the stuff at the top of the script talking about we are the appraisal review board, blah blah blah. So you only need to do once, okay? So I gotta just reword that to try and get some consistency of how we approach that, how I lay it out in the script. But at least for tomorrow, I got 3 reworded scripts that deal with the single member.
Okay, great.
And I'll just take a minute there too, but before lunch or sometime. I assume we're live.
Yes.
Okay, it was Tuesday, June 21st at 8:31 a.m. and we are convening a session of the Aransas County Appraisal Review Board. We're going to start off this morning with a series of short recommendation hearings to take action on the cases that we heard and determined yesterday. As I mentioned, we had a total of 21 cases on the docket for yesterday, and a total of 5 that stood up. The 5 explanations for why we're getting such a relatively high notion rate, but that's what we have to contend with. I also gave you, and I just want to revisit the fact that we recognize that yesterday's hearing was just like a regular ARB hearing. The only difference is that there was only one person hearing it. In terms of the motion practice, since there's only one person that's in the hearing, there's no particular motion that's made and seconded to accept or not accept a determination. So I tried to make an explicit statement of what the determination was, and that determination would then be taken to the full ARB board.
So you didn't say I'm making a motion on count blah blah.
Right, I did not.
This is like we normally do. You just said my decision is that this is what the ARB.
Correct. Yeah. So my statement was basically this is a determination of the ARB. That determination will be taken to the full ARB as a recommendation to be voted on.
Couldn't be any seconds.
Exactly, and that's why its motion didn't seem to be appropriate for when there's only one person. So what we are doing in this recommendation hearing phase is, since I handled the cases yesterday, we will be presenting. I'll be presenting a very short, concise summary of what each case determined, and without going into very many specific details, because it's always possible that the case may in fact end up in front of the ARB in the future if you both determine not to accept the recommendation. So I'll be presenting a very short summary and the actual determination. What you will be making a motion on and moving on is whether or not to accept that recommendation. That's it. Okay.
But that's what you get thrown down.
That's right, and that's why I created this just as a little guide. Okay, so we're not stumbling around with the wording on the motion practice to use for this part of the hearing.
So this is for each case, we do approve it on each
Correct.
per case.
Per case, yes. And there of course is a second or a third situation which I didn't actually articulate here, which is if a given motion fails to get a second, then it's effectively fails as well. So
I'm going to ask the question back on a second. Does the person, when you finish the hearing with them, and you say you're bringing it to the total ARB, at what point or when would it go, instead of going to the full ARB, would the second meeting?
after the results of our recommendation here. Okay, it is possible. It is possible that a second or a single member panel, that person may, for whatever reason, decide they do not want to hear that particular hearing because it's too complex. There are a number of, I'm at a loss really to figure out because
It's not the protester's choice, because it's automatically going to go to us,
right.
and then from there we make the determination whether it goes to another single member.
No, from if it comes in the recommendation phase, in the recommendation hearing phase, if it's voted to not accept the recommendation by determination, then it will automatically go to a second, to a full ARB hearing.
Then it comes to us,
Right.
full hearing.
That's correct. Now, the tax code does imply or does state that it's possible that we could appoint a second single member panel. The challenge, well, and it's more of an operational challenge with us because being a small district, there's just the five of us, okay? And since all of you are in fact participating in the recommendation phase, it probably wouldn't be appropriate to try and take you know, Joanne, you've heard something about it, not all the details, but in any case,
Enough to make a decision.
correct. And so for that reason, and I talked to the attorney about this as well, you know, there's no reason, no problem with just automatically saying, you know, a vote to not accept the recommendation would result in a rehearing. Okay, and I don't know that I actually stated that. If I did, I didn't do it consistently with the with the property owners. I did say that the determination would be then taken to the full ARB to be decided.
If they don't like the determination by the full ARB, can they then request to come before the full ARB?
No, so
No.
if I could just, there's path A or path B today. Path A is you accept the single member panel recommendation, whether he, meaning Scott yesterday, either approved or denied the protest by the property owner. If you accept all five, you will be accepting his decision as it relates to that property. And I'll just tell you, well, I don't know if I should tell you, but if one were a denial, meaning somebody brought a case and, you know, Scott said that it was denied, you would be affirming his denial. And in either case, you would be, if you accepted all five cases, if you approved all of his five cases, you're basically doing an order determining protest at that point. and it's done. It's just like they get an arbitration or a lawsuit later. They don't get to come back.
Right.
The only way that they get to come back is if Scott says, hey, this is the way the case went. I denied it, and then you, for whatever reason, which I don't know how you could glean this, but for whatever reason, you thought, I don't know, maybe we should, you should overturn that case. In which case, they would be notified of the future hearing, y'all would meet, and that would be the case.
There was some opportunity. For
That would be the hearing case.
Okay, thank you.
And there is, and I did have, situation where when you say it's going to go for a recommendation to the full ARB to vote on the determination. On the recommendation. If we vote to accept, they still have all the opportunities to appeal.
Appeal to the high, to the court of law. Right, right.
That's correct.
Yeah, you tell them all that.
That's
Yes.
If that, we work back to the normal.
Mhm.
Yeah,
yeah, that's fine.
It's
And that's an improvement.
going to be
And that's
difficult
5%.
since we haven't heard anything.
right.
We're going on what you're.
We had some
And,
response from some people. We're talking about the cases.
yeah, so I guess I want to know how you're going to present that.
Yeah. I've got, it will be, well, you'll see, and
I'll see the hearing.
I can certainly ask questions, but I may,
Mhm.
I think that less is better. Did you talk to the attorney about that? Just maybe just either doing the case number and or the ID, one of the two. And I guess the only other things you should say are what the starting value was, what the ending value was, and then what was protested and what you ruled on.
Yep.
And that should be,
That should be,
it should be as minimal as possible.
yeah,
and then we'll make our decision.
that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
And this is an open meeting, so.
Yeah.
I mean,
We can ask questions.
there's you can certainly ask questions, there may not be answers.
Yeah.
Okay. And we may, I may say, no, we can't address that in this hearing. Okay. It's a fine line that we walk on this because, the possibility of hearing something again, has to be protected. And we want to make sure that since you are the people that would be potentially hearing it again in front, as a rehearing, that you can take your oath that says I have not, communicated blah, blah, blah. And do that without any reservation.
We have to take an oath before listening to what you tell us about each case.
No. And that's in part why I did the motion practice to try and limit the amount of stuff that you're, and make it very consistent and clear what it is you are voting on, what the motion's going to be and what it's this. That's correct. Okay, should be short.
Yeah.
during the single member panel, Scott took an oath
Mhm.
that said he, blah, blah, blah. You don't have to do the same thing just to hear what he's saying today. If you were to deny any one of the recommended or recommendations, then in a future hearing, you would have to swear.
Yeah.
But to do that
So
is requisite on the fact that less is better, like the less you know about it, the better.
well, and it seems,
You don't want to prolong it anymore.
it's almost like, okay, you heard it,
I mean, barely.
so now we didn't vote.
Yes.
Why, and it's like, why wouldn't it end with just a single panel? Like it does when they come to the full panel? Because it's only one person.
Because it's not an order determining protest. After today, if you affirm Scott's decision, today will be the order. determining.
Today, okay.
It's the
So
best
it's
way I
a
can describe it.
hearing and then we get to, the full board gets to determine that. hearing.
Right. In the case of a single member panel, in part, and I'm only speculating here, some of the thought process that may have gone on or when the process might have been created. Other large districts, and by code, by tax code, we fall under the cliff level of having to allow or have what are called special panels. And special panels are a subset of appointed ARB members who would hear a case, which may be for a number of reasons deemed to be more complex or dealing with a specific aspect of tax code that the regular ARB would not be hearing.
Like some would do commercial, they have a special group.
It's possible, sure. However, we don't do that in this county because of the size of the county. However, somebody who may who does have special panel may say, oh, this single member panel thing is no big deal, right? Because we do this already kind of sort of anyway with the special panels. And in those cases, at least the ARB chairs that I've chatted with, they in large part, it's a trust thing. It's a kind of detail that the ARB doesn't get into, doesn't want to get into. And we believe that and for valid reasons, not just because I don't feel like doing it, it's because I don't have the expertise. And actually, if you do go through the code, you'll see that there are requirements for being on a special panel that go into, what your background is. Are you a lawyer? Are you an engineer? So forth.
Just out of curiosity, have the other ARB chairman we talked to had a lot of those.
No, and I may be circling back around, particularly for down the lady in Hidalgo County. She and I chatted quite a bit. At the last time I talked to her, she had not, to her knowledge, they did not have any requests for panels. I'm not sure she may not have been informed is the thing here, because it's a checkbox on the form. So I'm surprised if she didn't get any, but in any case, we chatted with the comptroller's office and other things about the processes and we talked a number of times, several times, at least, about how they were going to handle single member panels. And she and I said we would touch base after we had our first panels, and I'll ask her again if they have any scheduled.
Just crazy. And it may go smoothly.
Yeah, since they're used to special.
It's a baby, so, and they do have a recourse if we approve, then they do have recourse, they can appeal, so.
Certainly.
We just, do the best we can.
You should probably get into that. I'll say the district representative looked over the cases. Just generally at large, we do not disagree with any of the decisions.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll also throw out too that and this was part of my discussion when we were vetting Judy Hargrove, and I was having conversations with some of the other districts that she represents. I mentioned this single member panel thing to other ARB chairs, and two of them said, "What are you talking about?" So, thankfully, and I had heard about this process, being part of the new code back in December, I think. But the district here, I forget if it was Scott or Ray or somebody had said, buckle up, get ready. This may be.
Buckle up, or suck it up. Or suck it up.
Okay, we're ready to proceed. I'll direct you to the appropriate pages. I'll just take these in order that I heard them. So we are opening a recommendation hearing on case ID 2022-207, which is on page 1 at the top of your case listing. Count 25,965. The appraised value for the property is $531,430 based on the evidence presented by the appraisal district and the property owner, and some discussion that ensued. The determined value was set to lower, or was lowered to $490,000. So at this time,
I can make a move, make a motion on that.
yes,
Regarding case ID 2022-207, count number 25965, that the ARB accepts the recommendation for $490,000.
and actually, all you need to do is accept the recommendation, and that's it. You don't need to reference any, because all of that's was dealt with in the section yesterday. Sure, that's fine.
I move regarding case ID 2022-207, account 25965. That the ARB accepts the recommendation of the
As presented.
as presented.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, that closes this recommendation hearing.
What, just I fill this out?
You don't need to fill out anything. I just wanted to give you
Oh, something to talk.
Yeah, right.
Oh, okay.
So
We don't need to do it.
Yeah.
Fine.
that work?
Don't give the number and
Nope,
just.
because all you're doing is approving or
Yeah,
not
approve.
approving the recommendation.
Read it as in.
Okay, I'm opening your recommendation hearing on case ID 2022-1072, which is on page 3 at the top of the case listing. 1072. Property ID 64502. The appraised value was $225,870. After considering the evidence from the appraisal district and the property owner, it was determined that the value remained the same at $225,870.
I move regarding case 2022-1027, account 64502. ARB approves the recommendation as presented.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Taking that motion first. Case number 3 is case ID 2022-925, which is on page 4 at the bottom of your case list. This is for account number 63675. The appraised value was $186,560. After determining, or after considering the evidence from the district and the property owner, it was determined that the value remained the same at $186,560.
I move regarding case 2022-925, 675, that ARB approves the recommendation as presented.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries. Case number 4 was 2022-928, which is on page 5 at the top of your case listing. This is for property ID or account number 65238. The appraised value was $946,090. After considering the evidence from the appraisal district and the property owner, as well as some considerable discussion, it was determined that the appraised value be lowered to $874,000.
Move regarding case ID 2022-92A, and 66528. The AR group approves the recommendation.
I'll second. All in favor? Anybody opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Case number 5 is 2022-151, which is in the middle of page 3 in your case list. For account number 56512. The appraised value was $60,760. Considering the evidence from the district and the property owner, it was determined that the appraised value be lowered to $60,000 even.
Move that regarding account 2022-151. Case ID number ID 56612. The ARB approves the recommendation as presented.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, that motion carries. So we are done with the cases. That was it for the day.
That's all these cases.
Well, yeah, of the 21 that were on the docket and scheduled for yesterday, there were only 5 that actually happened.
Okay, so it's this whole active here.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Anybody following?
Nobody canceled that I'm aware of. There was some situations because of the federal holiday where somebody waited to the last minute, they weren't able to get information, scanned, whatever.
Yeah, me too. I tried to call them all day.
Okay, so what we're gonna do the rest of, at least this morning, on this docket is hear a few.
I believe you have 2 letters first.
Oh, letters, okay. Thank you.
Keep it straight, please.
We'll go see if I can find iPad. You got
Oh, I got one.
it disappeared?
Check the trash. So I hope that process works okay.
I like this. I mean,
Helps.
it does, because then you don't have to go into the history.
Okay.
Yeah, this is. I have a comment.
Yeah. Okay. And I don't have this shooting your facial for today. Yeah.
So these are all done.
Right.
Okay.
And I'll double check. I don't see any need after we've gone to the recommendation hearing for the people.
Did you ask them to fill these out? Well, you're not.
Yeah. Yes, for the in-person ones, I asked them, if they would, so for at least the in-person.
What about the others?
Oh, yeah, no,
Oh,
sure. Sure.
They could need to be signed in.
My phone. Like to be in the letter.
Good morning.
Hey, how are you?
Doing good. How y'all doing?
It's summer.
Just
This is, this is Ron's iPad or a tablet and it wants to sign into the
Yeah, 'cause
cloud.
we have issues with that.
Of
course.
We can,
Read letters.
yeah, Ron, if you want to use this one for the time being. If they don't get it figured out in time. And the letter lady walked away.
The lady is multi-talented.
Yeah.
Okay, we're doing letters first.
It looked like 2 letters.
Yeah, it's 2 letters. You get it.
Can we do the top one?
Sure.
I like your use of the stack here. So I had a bunch of these made, so when I was doing timekeeping, I was using, you know.
And I cross them off.
Yeah, that's what I did too. Yeah, I found that too. Sure.
Yeah, it was all right. It was, like I said, my daughter's away. My wife and daughter were away and this whole week they had the Miss Outstanding Teen Texas. So you have Miss Texas and you have Miss Outstanding Teen Texas. And Lorraine was Miss Fulton. She was Miss
yeah.
Fulton. So she provided the Miss Fulton team. And she's competing with me in Dallas this whole week. So
For this team.
Yeah.
Okay, before we do the letters, I do have to let you know, we have 3 people that haven't passed. Do it remotely today.
Talent, platform,
I want to okay, call it
initiative.
Debris, investment,
By phone.
and then that.
You.
Yes.
I see no reason to not do it.
Okay,
Let's do it.
Okay. First letter is, yeah, in 22983, and then I'm assuming, June 11. Rosemary Rosendez.
You're reading the bottom first, okay.
Yeah, she could go top of the pile.
It's okay. It's okay, go ahead and read Rosemary.
And so it was mailed on June 11th, it was received here in the office on June 17th. It's Rosemary then Rosendez, letterhead. Dated February 6/8. Aransas County Appraisal Review Board, here, Aransas County Appraisal District. Here, Aransas County Appraisal Review Board. Purpose of this letter is to request permission to file a late protest for the value of my property. I travel for my job and from April 25 to May 25 on 4 different states, down in Texas, Oklahoma City, Florida, most of Mass, Oklahoma. And then later solid searching and look at communication settings to influence better outcomes in communication quality of life. Unfortunately, when I returned home on the 5th, I went state to travel and the submitted form was due that day. Unfortunately, which resulted in submitting one day late, postmarked for the 6th.
Once you have your own, so you have it.
I apologize for all the inconvenience and I greatly appreciate consideration to file late protection for property. If you have any questions, please contact me. By airline ticket receipts and hotel bill. Thank you. Sign her.
Play
But she was, I don't know, if she was not home for months here, but she was gone from April 25th to May 25th, so she,
When did they get mailed out?
I'm pulling that up right now.
Okay.
I don't know.
Let's see, the deadline date was May 25th, the mail date was April 25th.
She was gone. She missed it by being or wherever, not in the country, on travel, wherever she was. And she got back on the 25th. It was already too late. By the way, she submitted something the next day. I don't know. I feel like she didn't submit it the next day. She submitted it by the letter.
Well, this letter came on, it was dated June 8th. She said that she filed the protest form on the 20. Sent it on the 25th or
She
26th.
did. Is it next?
No, I don't know that they have a copy of that.
Yeah, I'm pulling up the,
Well, she was in the cabin. That's close.
this is the, hang on, let me
Couple hours.
pull this over here.
Yeah, but if she didn't know about it, because the mail was released, she was gone before the mail came.
Sorry,
It's a DPM.
Sure.
this was received May 31st. It looks like it was mailed, signed on the 25th. It was signed on the 25th.
Her protest.
Her protest was signed on the 25th, but it was not received into our office until the 31st. And you could see that the postmark is the 26th here.
I don't know.
But it says we have a stamp that received June 17th.
No, that's the
Yeah,
letter. That's this letter.
This is what
You're
you,
talking about the protest.
yeah, I think
Okay.
that somebody asked a question about that. Is that right? Okay. Good.
No. In the wrong place at the wrong time, she was gone when it was received, she responded as soon as she got home. You know, they asked for receipts and all of it.
I will say that, I mean, you have many ways to protest. Meaning that, if it were mailed on the day of the 25th, it was mailed on that day, it would have been stamped, postmarked on the 25th, not the day after. Secondarily, you could have done it. She had all the online information and she could have done that up, even if she got home, even if the person did it up till midnight, because we didn't turn that off until after midnight on the 25th. So a person could have even done it online.
Yeah,
It's
it's in,
in the thing. I mean, everybody gets a pen and they're, they say these are the ways you can protest. I mean,
What is everybody else?
yeah, to me, it's unfortunate, but I think she engaged, she may have been traveling quite a bit. It's not clear from the information that she's gone completely during the whole month of April. Yeah, she's, was that every day? Was that, the weekends too? I don't know. I think it would be setting a precedent to.
I think she's late.
Yeah, no, it's set. DPN is, DPN is Doctor of Podiatry Medicine.
Yeah.
Such a word, but you think so.
Dietary is,
Yeah, but she may be
Yeah.
in, limb retrieval.
right.
Recommendation on PID 229.3. In response to the letter received from Rosemary Resendez requesting a late hearing that the appraisal review board denied based on, it's based on, not
Timeframe.
not appropriate information for the request.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay,
This is
2188.
Are those the only two letters?
The letter was dated June 14th. It was received on June 17th. Was written on June 14th. To Aransas County Appraisal Board, address from James A. and Mavis C. Sauer, SAUR. Please note new address. So there's a new address on here. 122 Kiowa Drive, East, Lake Kiwanis, Texas.
Kiwanis.
Kiowa.
Kiwanis.
Kiowa.
Kiowa, is that what it is?
Yeah,
Okay.
where is that?
Must be North Texas.
Okay, sounds good.
Property ID 12188. Lego North Condominium, 99. 620 South Fulton Beach Road, Rockport. To whom it may concern. Thank you for your service to Aransas County. We request an update on mailing address for future correspondence effective immediately. Please note the new address above and use of any future correspondence. Our 2022 notice of appraisal arrived at our new address, with the new address sticker attached to the notice, but much later than the notice of April 25th, 2022. For discussion with Barbara, the original notice was likely returned to Aransas CAD from our former address, despite our forwarding address supplied for our post office. Evidently, however, as attached printed label shows, the Aransas CAD office has the correct confirmed address for us, but it doesn't the process yet. On May 16th, 2022, when we first received the notice, I spoke with Amy Burke and requested appraisal district comps for our condo unit sales at our address. Mr. Burke sent me some comp sale information that also stated, quote, I don't know if exactly we presented enough evidence for your eventual protest, but these are what showed up and I looked for sales in your neighborhood, unquote. On reviewing the unit information Mr. Burke sent, we decided to do further research based on the evidence gathered. We request an opportunity to present to the ARB. Additionally, since the notice arrived, our COA board has levied a special COA board, the homeowners association, has levied a substantial special assessment against all condo units of our complex, due in full by August 15, 2022. We appeal to have this assessment considered as a reduction to value in this tax year because it is already assessed. Special assessment is the result of activity required for Hurricane Harvey recovery. Due to the legal nature of the assessment, we request that our hearing not be public. Due to the late arrival of the notice, we did not file a public value protest timely by May 25th. We request that we be allowed to protest our valuation via the ARB panel in person. We would like to receive whatever sales comparables information, comparables information is valuing of the 2022. We have included our email address for delivery of comparable sales and notice information. Safety and expense. Please include a copy of the hearing procedures. Thank you for your consideration for our request of ARB and signed by James. David Sauer with their condominium address. It attached is the 2022 notice of appraised value and a copy of Mavis Sauer's license, driver's license, to prove ownership. Oh,
It's the district's position that they're late. It's evidence in the middle of their letter. On May 16th, when we first received the notice, I spoke with David Burke and requested the appraisal district comps. So they entered into what's called an informal. There was no resolution, and, you know, I looked into the account, it says expecting protest, which means that, like, basically there was an exchange of information, of at least communication, and that Amen felt like our value was good, and he was expecting the protest. It doesn't alleviate a person from the 15th, from May 16th to May 25th. It doesn't alleviate a person's responsibility to turn in a piece of paper to say I protest. It's the district's position that they're late and it should not be granted.
You made the correction for that.
Yes.
Okay, I personally would like to talk to the attorney in this, just to make sure that this communication, and I don't know, is there the on the 16th, the discussion with Eamon, is just the call that's logged, or is that logged?
Yeah, I can look, I can pull it over for you, but,
He said.
it says, I
Yeah,
spoke with Eamon Burke, requested appraisal information. I assumed that it was a phone call, because if they
no,
are,
I was more interested in what was talked about. Because what the discussion with the lawyer will involve is, does this constitute a protest?
well, you can ask that question, but it's the district's position that does not constitute a protest.
Yeah, and because I've had this discussion with her.
Not a phone call, and there's nothing written in our possession.
Okay, that's
Prior to the
information, and that's part of what I'll discuss, what I'll ask her about, because she said she wants to, she has told me before that, and it may boil down to the lack of anything written, that it was just because of the phone call, that this doesn't constitute that communication in May does not constitute a protest. However, she has said that, because we've had a discussion about using the form, writing on a napkin, whatever the case might be, constituting a protest. And she said she's had cases in district court, she's had to deal with people.
Right,
This
this-
conversation on a timely basis, and any bits of information, and then they reviewed it. We wanted to do further research. Well, most of her research apparently is based on the fact that they're having a substantial levy. Well, that's too bad.
Well, yeah, that has nothing to do
It has
with
nothing to do with
our.
us. So, that's the basis of it.
If you look up here, this inquiry, when it says inquiry, that means it's an informal. And that was created on 5/16. So if you go to this, you can see that the inquiry is here, but there's no protest down here because we don't have anything written. Again, unless we have an online protest or written protest, which are the ways that you have an actual protest, it would be right here. We do have this indicated right here, and you can see that it was a phone call. It was an appraisal inquiry. It was created on this time, this date, on this time. They spoke. And they spoke on the phone, and then he put expecting protests, which indicates to me that's the indication from an appraiser to say the appraiser looked at the information. They don't agree with the property owner. They typically, and I'm not saying that it happens every time we're in this way, but our appraisers are trained that if you disagree, that make sure you turn in your protest. And it's just a general thing that we say, and that's something that the front office staff says. I mean, make sure you turn it in timely. And that's all we say. We got to move on. Like, we have other people
Right.
that we're dealing with.
Well, and she also filled out this form, the protest form.
But it was.
And it's
That was-
registered and it's signed on the 14th of June. So
Yeah,
that's,
it's late.
it's late.
That
And
is. So my only question, and what I still think I would, it's up to you guys to determine, but I would still like to confirm with the lawyer that just the phone conversation is not could not be construed as a form of protest.
But she said after Eamon's comments, and she was quotes here, which I read. And he apparently sent me the information. Upon reviewing the information Mr. Berg sent, we decided to do further research. Okay, so now it's June 17th.
Right, I think she's
So
late.
she had time
Yeah, she had time.
Okay.
to do the research. And
I will also, and
You can ask, you can also talk to the lawyer,
well,
you know, but I don't know that this.
this is the second situation I've observed with people believing they need to have their research done prior to submitting the protest. And that's not,
That's
and we,
described to them in their information pack, isn't it?
no, it's not. It doesn't tell you that you need to have all your ducks in line before you even submit the protest. But to
But you
understand,
have to fill out this, you know, I disagree with you, Scott, because I think that,
you don't have to fill out the form.
but you have to submit your protest.
You, in some form or fashion.
Yes.
And that's
that was
correct.
not- And it says that Eamon was expecting a protest based on the conversation that he had with her. So
And
That was
I
back to
don't
her.
disagree that
It doesn't
something
matter.
need to be.
You can speak with the lawyer. It will continue to be the district position.
Yeah.
We do not have a timely protest.
And you guys can vote that way too. I mean, that's fine.
Additionally, what motivated her
yeah,
to go ahead and pursue this is because of the special assessment.
the HOA, yeah,
And I think if
that's,
she had not had the special assessment, they may not have pursued it. That's just.
well, and I agree with you, because once that was said in her letter,
I can tell you it's a good number.
so,
Myra, you want to jump it, that's fine, go ahead.
Well,
I agree with the district.
I do too.
if you guys vote, and that's fine, that's perfectly fine. I would not pursue it with the lawyer because after the fact, there's not much we can do, okay? And she says, no, you should have granted it or whatever. C'est la vie. I mean, the board would have voted to take a certain action, so, and that's up to you.
You know,
What do you all want to do?
I want to agree with the district. It's late. She had every opportunity and, you know.
I sort of see where she's coming from. I'm not going to apply for a protest if I don't think I'm going to win it, which would be the research. On the other hand, I'm sure Eamon told her, you need to get in this paperwork. Yeah, and so, yeah, I
In
agree
addition,
with
she
you.
states in there that she doesn't want the hearing to be public. It's not possible with us.
It is.
It is, there's a call to closed session.
Okay.
She can request that and people can actually bring information that they don't want
Gotcha.
the rest of the public, but they have to request a closed hearing. That's a different nuance. That's a secondary issue to the thing that they claim.
Well,
But I'll say that just as a generality, we get tons of phone calls and they happen all kinds of ways.
mhm.
Hey, I'd like to, tell me about this value, or I'm upset with the value or whatever. And then we look into it. There's going to be one of two things that happens in an appraisal client. They're going to look at that. They're going to listen to the claim of their house is in this kind of shape or that kind of shape. Then they're looking for information. And even after that conversation, they may not change the value. The appraiser may or may not change the value. But in either case, they're saying if you disagree, you make sure you turn that in a timely way. That's always, I'm not saying it happens 100% of the time, but it's part of most conversations
Right.
because we expect people to disagree with this and they have rights and remedies, it's okay that you disagree with me. You go ahead and there's an avenue for you. There's an avenue for you to protest. And in this case, it's very clear that there was a conversation well before the deadline date, 9 days before the deadline date. All she had to do was fill out a piece of paper and turn it in. And then you wouldn't have to deliberate.
Right.
It sets a horrible precedent to let somebody well, let me look at all the information. No, I mean, turn it in
You have a timeline.
and then you can look at the information and if
Then you can back off.
you can back off if you don't want. That's the reason. I mean, you asked the question, why do you have such a high no-show rate? They have, every person gets the evidence
Right.
beforehand and they're looking at the information. Well, I'm not gonna win. I mean, I don't know. They still take their shots. Several people still take their opportunity.
Mhm.
They can still take hold of their bites, but we have really good information. And so it's a district's position, that person's play.
Well, and I think her main objective was because her assessments all of a sudden went so high too, and it's like, ooh.
I think it's like, oh my God.
Right.
Okay, so anyway.
Okay. well,
And, those assessments may be based on what the property is valued at. So if it's valued at less, you get.
They're all for me.
Those assessments are generally done by the undivided interest ownership. When I've seen those house, but
And it's a bit, I can buy that. I'm gonna make a recommendation on property ID 12188. Lakeland North Condominium, 909, from, James Street, near the Star, and we are, the creating new board declining their request for, hearing based on not having, appropriate reason to consider one.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay.
So I want to get ready to do it. David?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of course.
We're on a roll. You candy.
Wow.
But you said I didn't even go out of that yet. This is third. Well,
You know, what was the last day you worked? Thursday.
I've had candy since, unfortunately. But I did go to the doctor yesterday, got a really bad report.
Oh,
Yes, I do have to have blood work done though.
oh, well, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, they always want to see.
Mhm.
What the question?
That's what they said, to go to Quest, because I go to Dr. Lee Sang in Portland, he's excellent.
It's an appointment.
I think you can just go in, I'm gonna.
You can, but the earlier you go in the morning, the better off you are.
Well, yeah, because I have to fast. Yeah, I think I'll go there at lunchtime and just make him.
Do it online.
Yeah, they won't do it
Online,
there.
do it online.
They can't.
Oh, they won't do it then?
No.
You have to make it online.
And she said, well, you don't look 76. And I went, thank you.
You know,
I feel 76 sometimes when I get up and I'm home.
Eventually after we beat the jam, right?
Yeah, cracking and pop every time you get up.
yeah, all of the news.
I'm like, oh, okay. And I told Tom, and he said, you can see it. So I went, oh.
Well, he's going for brownie points. He's going for brownie points.
Oh, I see. So anyway. That was kind
So
of
Ronnie,
funny.
I tell you about the dog.
Oh,
I took her to the vet yesterday. And because I was gonna have that shot, so I would get sick from it. And she said, I'll give her the shot. She said, it's a tough shot, so I want you to stay with her. She said, but I would prefer you did not take your dog to either one of these facilities and you're blind. Just letting you know, in case you happened. She said, anything that asked you for. So I had dogs come in here with sores or rubbing with the asked her. She said, I had dogs come in with feet.
it's eating some.
She's strong, she said. The dog gets in that pool and it's not a, it's a rubber pool.
Yeah.
You know, some dogs will be in it.
If someone's trying to get
your dog.
Oh, yeah.
My friend's dog.
Is that a salty dog?
From there. He's a chocolate
Oh,
back retriever.
yeah.
Duck dog,
What it is.
and they ran him so hard, and it was so hot.
Oh.
Whomever would be the opponent was, played ball, I mean, they loved to play ball, no run.
It was so hot.
So hot. And they don't
All
like.
that dog needs.
And it's fetching.
Yeah, I didn't.
Especially if they're a larger size. My female is smaller and she can run all day. The male is bigger and he 30 minutes eating for the day.
She's got a lot of one. One.
Okay, so we have somebody who called puts in. What do you wanna do?
We can hear it. Do we have any?
Where is this?
For the affidavit, for the 10 o'clock, yeah. So I about ask what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a farmer affidavit, or do you wanna go ahead and start with it?
Let's start today.
So it is recreational.
Nothing wrong with it.
I could probably work.
Here we go, ceremony.
Okay.
All right, thank you. So we're gonna go ahead and start and we'll work in the affidavits as we have time.
Thank you,
available.
Miss Beth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wanna get
we
rid of
have-
Did you want this?
Sure.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay, these are the 10 pounds.
I think
Figure
we
out what
have.
happened to my protest list.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to figure out what happened to my protest.
Mike is over there.
It will be at 10 o'clock.
We have him on right now.
Who is,
Gonna be,
You have nice photos too.
I did, everything did. You got a call yesterday, that 10 folks are coming down this weekend, so it came out from under our house.
We're going to page 619,
And the steamer coming in.
account number 191.
No, you're thinking.
Yeah.
No, not with the puppy.
Oh, yeah.
On the phone, we have to take it up.
Right.
I don't have anybody else.
He said he was waiting on me.
No, they're bringing their RV to the state park,
Oh,
which is, you know,
Oh, that's good.
that way they, yeah, exactly, you know, it's like grandkids be spoiled.
Right.
Stay at home, you know.
Mhm. My kids are coming in Thursday also. Oh, well.
That's all right. I hadn't seen them in 10 years.
oh. Are they kids or just?
My wife's daughter, my wife's sister and her husband. No kids.
Is this a,
This is a Zoom meeting.
yeah, but it's just,
You want to wait for them?
629 is the case ID.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
They're, trying to get hooked in the Zoom.
Is this a commercial?
Scott, do you have Zoom up over there?
I do, stuff right there. Page where it says participants, one. That's us.
Here?
No, that's us. We're the one participant.
Okay,
And it
so,
would say, it will alert me on here. You'll see them be alerted up there when you have somebody who's interested
Okay.
in joining us.
Sure. Okay. Do we need to, recontact them?
they were in the process of, they called the front and could not get into Zoom at the time, said it wasn't active, which I think is. Is that the Zoom person? Got it.
The classic unit that we talk about a lot, is that an internal?
Every appraisal district has their own,
Okay,
there's not a,
because
statewide.
I was looking for it online. Wonderful one is. It's not real. This week.
It sure was nice to see them.
Yeah, but that money was all
I know that was mine.
We're waiting for the Zoom.
Yeah, they're trying to get a hold of them because they called in once. It's supposed to be telling you they're trying to get in.
And the air conditioning turned on yesterday.
It had turned off.
They're trying to find out what it is, so it's gonna be off. On today and hopefully they can fix some mistake. But you know, I didn't get the, I have a second unit, so.
Oh, good.
Cause the main unit is one that's the problem, but it's not all that hot.
Oh, our rent all day Sunday, never got below 75 in the house. So I've got to call them to them.
Yeah, because
Oh, yeah. What did you have at 7?
I set it at about 73 that day. Never got below 75. Just blowing the AC ducts are only
We're gonna
rich.
probably have some blackouts.
I'll be on generator.
No, I was surprised it didn't get it. I can notice when I walk out of the air conditioning part of the house. It's not cool. So, maybe I have to go over it. I don't know if we have any-
Well, that's what this one was supposed to be. And I asked her to,
You know, I mean, as far as not 10 o'clock, so anybody that walks in could still be coming in.
or
There was a hot one yesterday, and then
Oh, brutal, brutal.
I took the tanker from the fire department. We filled up a swimming pool for some people, a
Oh,
brand new pool. Man, it was hot.
oh my God.
We had to lay about 150-foot line, so it
You
wasn't
couldn't
like,
fill it up with.
couldn't back up to it, because the ground was too soft.
I mean, fill it up with groundwater. Please, they couldn't fill it up with groundwater.
They're on well water, they said,
I didn't.
but we We have a standard rate that we charge for that.
Really?
It goes as a donation to the fund.
I wanted more than one.
Yeah,
More
right.
than one.
That's what I thought about. Yeah, maybe I can make a run by the house and dump a load of
Run it real fast.
I don't have the well.
But it's got a big chute in the back of it where you can pull it out and it dumps the whole thing in like 30 seconds.
Oh,
25.
Eamon tried to call him, never picked up. He's trying to figure out what's going on with the Zoom. You wanna do the affidavit for O'Connor?
Sorry to jerk you around like that, man.
It's okay, I think that's gonna happen. And it's not. It's just a day.
Just counting.
Yeah, have the affidavit.
It's really Monday.
Yeah, right?
I know. but it-
No, it feels like
These affidavits will be,
They should be at some point. And she may have to pull some more.
Should be or have been.
Yeah, I see she's got an item in the agenda for agenda.
Wow.
Alright, so they're in the tablet, you'll find them
Affidavits. is that what
under
you're doing?
agenda, yeah, yes. So the first one, which is account number 14932.
You,
I do want to point out that we have 3 accounts that I just need to say, that we have agent not of record, 25093, 71031, and 44104.
What was that?
Say that again?
They are agent not of record. They filed a protest, but they're not their agent.
but they have the right paperwork to allow them,
We're not going to hear it.
we're not gonna do it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
We're doing.
we are doing, case ID 2022-7373, which is 14932. Too bad, so sad.
What time of day?
Now,
Okay. Oh, who knows? All right, so we're commencing a hearing on case ID 2022-373, account number 14932. This hearing is being recorded and streamed live on YouTube. Verify exactly what's in the protest. Okay, Q1, Q2.
see that?
All right.
Yeah.
We are the appraisal review board that will be hearing the protest today. We do not work for the appraisal district. We are appointed to perform an independent review of the protest. Protester has the right to appeal our decision, and appeal information will be provided to the protester with the determination. In accordance with tax code section 41.45H, it is assumed that all written material and evidence has been provided with the affidavit. And it does look, yes, thank you. See, we have evidence. The ARB members who are considering the protest have not communicated with anyone about the protest and are signing an affidavit to that effect. I, Scott Raggett, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
I had it, had it happen to someone, swear that I would communicate with a person in violation of tax code 41.66.
I, Joanne Ferguson, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code 41.66F.
I, Ronald Cannon, solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
I, Peggy Bird, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
All testimony from all witnesses must be given under oath.
Everybody must do solemnly swear affirm testimony I shall present to the regular people for the rest of the rest.
And the district representative will now read the affidavit into the record.
Section 1 is the owner's name and mailing address with phone number and email left blank. Section 2 is the property description. This is the property under protest, 201 Ocean Drive, Rockport, Texas.
Section 3, reason for protest. 2 are marked incorrect, appraised market value and value is unequal compared to other properties. Section 4 is evidence and it consists of 3 pages. Section 5 is statement of facts or arguments, opinion of value. 696, 235, based on sales subject property should use value.
Hold on just one second. This one?
No.
Oh.
That, we don't have
We don't
the
have-
case
we don't
listing
have-
for this.
So section 6 is I do not intend to appear at the hearing, either in person or by telephone conference call, and this affidavit and the evidence and or arguments submitted with it may be used for hearing. For the hearing if I do not attend in person at the hearing. 3 is signed by, it's a signature of James Cooper, signed in the county of Aransas, with the notary being Bree Nicole Smith. And this was done on the 10th of June, 2022. This next page is evidence, affidavit hearing file. The top just states the account number, the name, the legal description, the address, and the market and appraised value. Next section is evaluation for 2022, 2021, and 2020. Showing 703,000 and change in 22, 707,000 and change in 21, 566,000, I think is what that says, in 2020. Most of the other information there just doesn't change. It's living area and land size and then there's the improvement value and the land value that make the market value. Last, sales or listing. Sales or listing data is not available for subject within the last 3 years. Market data. Sales comparison allows estimating the market value by comparing the subject property to other properties sold in our listed or are listed for sale with some factors. Okay, number of approved parcels in the same neighborhood. Says there's 17. Subject property is 2150 square feet. Improvement value is 356. Extra features not available. Land size is 9,000 square feet. Land value is 346, 280. Year built is 2000. Typical year built for the neighborhood. Our typical property for the neighborhood is 2,800 square feet, 549, 321, an improvement value, no extra features or not available extra features. Land size 14,800, land value 417,915, and the typical year built is 1771.
17 for the one.
Yeah, we've done it before. O'Connor doesn't get this right somehow. I don't know why they have an error in there. The last one we had an error in the same
I
spot.
remember.
It was like 1889 or something like that. Typical sold property for the neighborhood is 2,500 square feet, has an improvement value of 478. Not available on extra features. Land size is 12,000, almost 13,000 square feet. Land value is 416,000 and the year built is 1991. Below this are some graphs showing that there's a couple properties sold in 21, and then there's a graph over here that I'm not sure what it's indicating. Has to do with price per square foot in the neighborhood, in the same neighborhood. Yeah. Affidavit. Continuing here, this is going to be sales data. Has the subject there, and then it says number 1. 503 Ocean Drive. 3,100 square feet, built in 2004. Sold for $1,030,000. for $1,034,000 in March of 21, indicating a per square foot value of $323. And we have $327 on this, and they're highlighting that we have $327. Average sales value is $323. And the market value proposed is $696. And then the next thing down is an equity deal. So you've got 4 equity comps, all on Ocean Drive. All at various values and per square foot values and year built. And they have a median adjusted value per square foot of $253 and a proposed appraised value of $545. And there's an equity trend. I'm not sure what that means. And then at the bottom, there is something that they're calling a Aransas transaction report group. And it has properties that are located on Weeping Willow and South Church Street. I don't know. I'm not sure what that's about. They have already presented an equity position and a sales position. So I'm not sure what. Oh, this is sales stuff down here. They're showing sales. They're showing recent sales in the area is what they're doing.
They aren't even in the area.
Well, just in the county, I suppose.
Yeah, I think so.
It's a small county. So at this point, this is their data. You can review those sales. If we took a second to look at them, we could maybe try to figure out what they're trying to comp here. I thought they were maybe comping for living area. Trying to get the living area just right. But the living area is different in the comps. So I'm not sure what inspired the relationship here to the subject. They've highlighted every one of these data points, so I'm not sure, if they're trying to point you guys to look at something specifically in here. I'm looking through it instead of just reading off a bunch of numbers to you to see if I see any relationship. But I know you guys will have to look at that and see.
They're not even close to value.
No, I don't know what the relationship is. I thought I was gonna see is that they pulled by square footage, and like every one of these was gonna be super close to the subject in square footage, but that's not the case. They're far away in per square foot. I'll go into a bit of cross-examination on this thing, and say that like one of the things that I would want to find out from these guys when they put their evidence together, with their sales information is on 1, 2, 3, on the third page, they have a graph in the middle and it's got a tall green column on the, and nothing else, but and then it says 2 properties sold in 2021 on Ocean Drive, which is correct. There were 2 sales in 2021 on Ocean Drive. But in their sales grid, they only put 1 sale. They only use 1 comparable. And I would want to know why, because they also then purport an average per square foot value of $323.83, but that's not really an average. That's just from 1 sale. And that sale is 1,000 square feet bigger. So our market value of $327 per square foot and theirs at $323 per square foot on 1,000 more square feet proves our point. That proves our point. We should be more per square foot. than them because they're 1,000 square foot bigger. So their price per square foot should be lower than ours. So that's kind of an issue for me. Of course, if they're using this data down here to mean something at the bottom, then I would have a problem with every one of these comps at the bottom. But I don't know what they're trying to say because they actually give their information up here in their sales of equity. And they have a proposed market value of 696. So anyways, we'll go to the CAD evidence. And we'll just look at these two grids. Ocean Drive is the road that runs parallel to the intercoastal waterway between Bahia Bay and Palm Harbor. It pokes into both of those subdivisions. And it has some sales in the area. Let me see what we did. If you look at the sales grid and you just jump to comp 3 and 4 in the sales grid, you'll see the two sales in 21. One's for 755, one's for 1,034,000. One's a little bit smaller house than the other and stuff like that. And so there is the two sales in 21, and then we put 2 additional sales from Bahia Bay on Land's End that were 21 sales and have 4 in the grid, giving a median value of 741. And then on our equity grid, we do 3 homes from Ocean Drive that are all class 5 and pretty close to the same square footage. One of them's a little bit smaller, one of them's a little bit bigger. And then we threw in a City by the Sea class 5 around the same effective age and the same square footage. We end up with a median value of 716. And our market value is 703. So we're comfortable with our market value in this case. That's it.
What is the house listed for now? I mean, it says.
703.
Oh, okay.
So from 706,
Yeah, so equity and sales are.
Yeah.
Significant.
Yeah, and I think that this value actually came down. But I had to
Yes.
guess.
From
We didn't.
last year.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
raised Ocean Drive last year, but we didn't do anything with it this year. Because those 2 Ocean Drive sales were actually they were in our data point in the previous year. They were early in 21.
What would they say that it was?
696, we're really, after it's all said and done, we're almost, it's almost comical that we're having a hearing in my opinion, but we're having a hearing over $7,000 on a $700,000 property.
yeah.
Then even 1%.
No.
No. Well, I agree with the district on this one.
I do too. This is.
Beautiful piece of property.
Yeah, it really is.
Water's, that's pretty. Right out there in the post.
Yeah, that is nice.
Now, is that a canal in front of them or?
It's
That's
in-
the, that's the.
Oh.
That's the hole in the.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably really good.
And for that value, that's
Mhm.
the sale.
That is a good one.
I agree with the district.
Yeah, it should, yeah, according to the comps and the equity, yeah.
Everybody feel like it should say where it is or?
Yes, well, I do. I don't know about Mike, Scott, Mike, Scott.
Yeah.
I will make a motion on property ID 14932. After listening to the district's information and that presented by affidavit protester, the trade review board is in agreement that the value currently noted on the property of $703,220.
Second. All in favor?
I,
Anybody opposed? Okay, there's it.
Next.
All right, next one is going to be our Zoom, Archangelis,
Oh, we got it.
619-19127.
Julian, can you hear us?
Yes.
Morning.
Good morning.
Give us a second to get things organized here.
No rush.
What's the case?
Case
It's
number
on the first page.
619.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, Julian, I have some administrative stuff to run through first before we get into the details of your case.
Understood.
We are commencing a hearing on case ID, case number 322-619, account number 19127, 105 Broadway Street in Fulton. This hearing is being recorded and streamed live on YouTube. Verify what's under protest. Okay, so market value and equity are under protest. We are the appraisal review board that will be hearing the protest today. We do not work for the appraisal district. We are appointed to perform an independent review of the protest. Protester has, sorry. At the end of the hearing, you may complete a survey regarding your experience. The survey may be completed using the survey form, which will be included in the determination package you will receive in the mail after the hearing, or you can take it online. And information about completing the survey, either on the form or online, is included on that survey form. And of course, the survey is entirely voluntary. Well, we always appreciate feedback. You also have the right to appeal our decision. Appeal information is also included in that determination package that will be mailed to you, which documents our determination. In accordance with tax code section 41.45H, all written material and evidence that has not been provided must be provided at this time. Do you have any other evidence that you will be presenting during your case?
No, the evidence that we presented the previous year, same information.
Okay, you won't be able to reference it.
He can talk about it.
Oh,
He
okay.
can talk about it.
Yeah, I'll be under sworn testimony of what I'll bring up.
The ARB members who are considering the protest have not communicated with anyone about the protest and are signing affidavits to that effect. Excuse me. I, Scott Wagner, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
I, Kathy Hoffman, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with the person in violation of tax code 41.66. I, Joanne Ferguson, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code 41.66F.
I, Ron Kennedy, solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code 41.66F.
I, Peggy Bird, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
All testimony from all witnesses must be given under oath. I'm assuming that you understand that since we have a signed and notarized affidavit from you, that you are in fact under oath. Okay. District Representative.
I, Ray Presley, do solemnly swear upon the testimony I shall present the appraisal review board for the Aransas appraisal district is true and correct.
Okay, I need to ask you if you hold a license or certificate from the Texas Appraiser Licensing and Certification Board.
No, sir. I'm just a licensed real estate broker.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. In the package of information you received from the district is one chart that are the hearing procedure times. Do you have that available to you?
Yes.
This indicates how we'll be running the hearing today. Okay. And takes two forms. One is if you would like to present first, or the other is if you would like the district to present first. You both will receive equal amounts of time regardless of which way you choose. But you
I'll
get,
allow, oh. I'll allow the county to present first.
okay,
I have 5 minutes.
Okay, Julian, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Is the house gutted?
Yes.
Like, the stud, there's no sheetrock, that kind of thing?
No sheetrock, no insulation. It's currently inhabitable.
And in your number here, you said we're asking for 114,930.
Yes, that's the request we're making for it to stay the same since there have been zero improvements to the property and nothing has been done to improve it. So it's further deteriorated slightly.
I agree to 114,930.
Okay, did you hear that? I'm sorry. What is that?
Julian,
Yes,
I
I got it.
agree to 114,930.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I figured. I saw your comps. They were good. They just had stuff inside the buildings and we don't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no problem. Good
Okay.
luck with the house. Yep.
okay, hang on, we have to move and accept. the motion.
Understood.
Regarding case ID 2022-619, account 19127. For information from the property owner as well as the district. The property owner has indicated that the structure is uninhabitable and totally gutted, and hence for it to be reduced to last year's value, which the ARB is in agreement with. And that value is $114,930.
All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, Julian, you understand the new value or the same value?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this hearing is closed. Thank you.
Thank you for your time, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I like it. I like it. Risk. Okay. I'm not taking
I'll find out. I'm also. We have these affidavits and we don't hear them all. I'd like to still get a case of the file.
Yeah, we can literally.
Take a break for a second? Yeah, sure. Let's take 5, 10 minutes.
Man, it's not even lunch yet.
I know, that's what I kept on thinking, it's not one, what are you doing, Joanne? And I thought, I can't say. Yeah.
Only one, Joe? See, I don't like dark
Oh,
chocolate.
I do love it.
All right. We have football and then never ends.
Okay.
I like the real stuff. Well, I know.
Yeah,
I like the milk chocolate.
Y'all taking a break or?
we are taking a quick break.
I'm digging
The one I don't like.
like all the different truffles.
All right, ladies, if you want to pull it up, 34893. Miss Kathy, I'm gonna go grab the speaker phone thing. A boomerang.
Yeah.
Where is it?
Yes, it's the top of, two. That's true.
You know what I like to see? When this is with almond. So if we can get some.
I'll try to remember next
I was
time I
gonna
bring it
say-
back.
Yeah.
You always bring it back, we'll put it on that table for you.
I would do that.
34893. What's your difference?
It's like we go to the, I call it the Walmart, Fulton Walmart. Dollar General.
What was that?
When I go to the Dollar General, I always tell Tom, well, I'm going to the Fulton Walmart, because that's the.
I have way more than that.
Oh, for you,
For
yeah.
me, yeah, it's close to.
How long did it take you to get to Walmart? I mean,
Better be fine.
15, 20. I left the house at 8 o'clock this morning and I got here about 8:20, so it's 15 minutes. Traffic's not bad.
Yeah, yes. I love the sound.
Oh,
They can be active and not have.
Oh,
that
they
kind of-
were out this, it has a very grandiose.
right. Oh, right. Very aggressive.
We know who's control out there.
Can I make a suggestion on these affidavits?
Mhm.
If you wanted to produce a case listing that had all, and we'll just check them off as we go through them. Because having the case listing is really helpful if we're going through that. So.
Even when we just like one at a time.
Sure. I mean, it'll be on the list and we'll just, you know,
I'll let all.
and we won't throw that case listing away from session to session. We'll just
Yeah.
leave it.
Okay.
That'll be helpful. Thanks.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I understand. Right.
Yeah, but if you see them get checked off, you've got that. feeling.
Yeah, it makes you feel good. Feel better at least.
Now look at it, too, also good, and all at once is. The goodness is over with.
I'm gonna have to give blood for about 6 weeks, so.
Is that all that sugar in there?
No, I better not eat too much.
Okay, ready?
Sugar.
Okay, the next hearing will be on case ID 2022-1396, which is a phone hearing, yes.
We ready?
I think we're ready. 13.
He's on his way.
Oh,
That's fine.
Maybe just. What is his name?
Morning, this is, the federal review board calling for the protest hearing.
Yeah, how are you guys this morning?
We're good, thank you. Hold on just a second, we'll get started.
Okay.
and is I'm sorry, is your name Brian?
It is Brian Bacon. I'm the president of Aransas.
Okay, we're just wanted to not talk to an investment LLC or something.
No. I mean, it's a family, it's a family company that we've had forever, and it's just.
Sure.
I mean, every now and again, we'll put our assets and to figure out what we're gonna do.
Okay. Brian, I have some administrative stuff to run through first before we get into the details of your hearing. We're commencing a hearing on case ID 2022-1396. Account number 334893, which is 38 Mazatlan Drive, apartment 8 in Rockport.
Yes.
This hearing is being recorded and streamed live on YouTube. To verify exactly what's under protest. Okay, so market and equity values are under protest. We are the appraisal review board that will be hearing your protest today. We do not work for the appraisal district. We are appointed to perform an independent review of your protest.
Mhm.
At the end of the hearing, you may complete a survey regarding your experience. The survey may be completed using the survey form, which is included in the determination package you will receive in the mail after the hearing, or you can take the survey online. Information about completing that survey and returning it are included on the form. The survey is entirely voluntary. However, we always appreciate any feedback you may wish to offer. You also have the right to appeal our decision. Appeal information is included in that package that will be mailed to you to document our determination. In accordance with tax code section 41.45H, all written material that has not been provided must be provided at this time. And I see we do have a fair number of pictures and so on. You have submitted all your evidence at this point, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's good. The ARB members who are considering the protest have not communicated with anyone about the protest and are signing affidavits to that effect. I, Scott Wagner, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66 F.
I, Kathy Hoffman, solemnly swear that I have not communicated with a person in violation of tax code 41.60.
I, Joanne Ferguson, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code 41.66.
I, Ron McCann, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66.
I, Peggy Bird, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66 F.
All testimony from all witnesses must be given under oath, and I'm assuming since you have provided a signed and notarized affidavit that you realize that you are under oath.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
I recognize you solemnly swear in front of the testimony I shall present to the reason to be one for this kind of thing. It's true.
okay, Brian, I need to ask whether you hold a license or certificate from the Texas Appraiser Licensing and Certification Board.
I did not.
Okay, that's fine, thank you. In the package of information you received, there should be a chart which is labeled hearing procedure times. Do you have that available to you?
I can get it real quick. One bit.
And that's quite all right if you don't have it handy. We'll just step you through it as required.
Okay.
All right, so that basically the chart has two columns. One shows if the protester goes first.
I've got it here.
Okay, excellent. So both you or the district have equal amounts of time, regardless of who goes first, but you get to choose which you would like to do.
I'd like the district to go first.
Okay, fine.
Ready in 5 minutes. Okay, this is a protest for a Ventura condo, which is the condos at the end of Mazet Lawn. These condos are the condos that look complete, but often are not. Last count we had, it was about half. Half of the condos are complete and half of the condos are studs, just a shell, with the inside not being complete. Presumably the condo complex rebuilt to a certain point and then turned it over to the owners to finish. In this complex, there are sales. So there's a sale of a finished unit. The apartment number 13 sold. And sold for in October of 21 for $660. And then there are two sales of gutted units. And that's going to be apartment 6 and apartment 14. Apartment 6 sold for $456 in August of 21. And unit 14 sold for $325 in September of 21. So
And you said those are unfinished?
those are unfinished units. Oh, that's correct. Yes. And so those are our two unfinished units that sold, along with the one that did sell. That was complete. When we look at the equity grid, all we're doing here is putting the unfinished condos in the grid just to show that we're treating all the unfinished condos the same. They're all relatively very, very close in price with minor adjustments. Some of them, you know, one of them has a dock and one of them has a boat lift. And one of them does it, one of them doesn't have it. There's some very small differences amongst them. Rendering a value of 410. Our sales value is 418.
which is, the median of those three cells that we said there. I suppose you could say, I think this property was also purchased. I don't know any details on it. But it looks like there was at least a deed transaction in 21 and March of 21. So if that's the case, this could have been another data point. But it may not be a real transaction. I don't know. I just see it on the card here. Yeah, the transacted in 21. That's all I have.
Okay, Brian, you have 2 minutes to ask Ray questions or anything else you want to cover with him, and additionally 5 minutes for your presentation, so basically 7 minutes. You can start now.
Okay. Well, I would say that, the only question I would have, Ray, is, in these particular types of properties, in my opinion, and I don't know if you agree or not, but having a boat lift does add additional value as to something that may not have a boat lift or have a common dock. Do you agree or no?
I don't, from an appraisal standpoint, Brian, I don't know what those things would add. I know that we all have, if I could have a boat lift or not have a boat lift, I would prefer to have a boat lift, but I don't know how much more I would be willing to pay for the boat lift. I'm not sure. But I would rather have,
Well,
I would rather not share.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly. And in this case, in this particular case, the units that face Little Bay do have private docks, they do have private boat lifts. But the units that are into the canal there, it's basically a common area, much like the corner of Little Bay and Canal there's a common area. So, I'd say your value is being spread significantly amongst every other unit that is on the canal, because I can't go out and run somebody off of that particular dock because I can't separate it from my unit and call it mine. So I think your value, I think having a private dock and boat lift, in my opinion, does add a significant amount of value, on a monetary level as well as a personal level, because you are able to say, hey, this is mine. This is included, this is something that's appraised in my unit, and I would appreciate you not being on it. That being said, going into, where we feel that we're being, that our value is not fairly placed, is that, when we bought this place in March of 21, while we were still in high real estate values, we established a value when we bought the place. We established a value on that unit by what we paid for that unit. We did not, this was not a transfer of ownership between, an individual, an individual that we knew, that we personally did business with, into one of our entities. This was someone that was filling the unit. Our entity came in, made a deal, and we decided on a price, and that price is what we did. That price is what we had on the contract for purchase, and that's what established the value on our particular unit. And that's how we feel. If we were finished and this home, this condo was habitable, I would, I think we'd be having a much different conversation. But there is nothing inside of this unit to make it habitable. There is no power, there is no water, there is no plumbing, there is no HVAC. There's nothing. It is plywood floors and 2x6 flat together stairs, just so you can get up to the different levels, I guess, when they were putting in windows and finishing the outsides of it. So again, when we made our deal on the property, we established a value on that property, not dictated by a sale of a unit next to it. And there's nothing to say that I could sell this unit and get anywhere close to what, some of these other ones have gotten for it. Right time, right place. The unit 16 or unit 6 and 14 being unfinished, it may be, maybe something else, but that's how they establish the value on their unit. It may be a different set of circumstances, but again, in our in our opinions, we established this value of what we paid for the unit. What we paid for is what the unit is worth. There's nothing,
Did you pay 410, 184?
I'm sorry, say again?
I was asking if you paid 410, 184. You don't have to answer the question.
No, man, we were never close. We were nowhere close to 410.
You want to share what you paid?
We were-
Share what you paid for?
We were in the low 200s.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, continue.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's really all I've got. On our side, a value was the time of the property, time of sale. And that's where we sit. And that's all I've got on it.
Yeah, Brian, when this thing, when you bought this thing, was it listed? Were other people able to buy it? Was it in the market or was it?
I don't believe it hit the market yet, but there were a handful of people that were after it.
In competition for it?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I think some of the things you're saying are right, kind of like right place, right time. It doesn't matter. It does work both ways, I mean, sometimes you get the best deal when you're at the right place, right time. In fact, I mean, that's kind of the best way to buy real estate is right place, right time. And then sometimes it's the right place, right time for the seller and the buyer should have walked away and they didn't. And of course, someone who's going to buy a gutted condo, they're accepting a certain amount of risk in their purchase. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. We're coming with our data here has 2 condo sales that are gutted. One sold for 325, one sold for 450. And then you're testifying that yours sold in the low 200s.
Well, I'm not arguing. I'm not arguing an increase, so to speak. What I'm arguing is an increase double of what was paid. I mean, we're over 100% in increase right now. That's my argument. I think it's an ill-placed value, honestly.
That's
I mean, regardless of what may have sold it, again, we can go back to the right place, right time, better deal maker, whatever you want to label it as, but an over 100% increase in value is, I think that's an ill-placed value.
Yeah, and you should know that we raise people 100% all the time because we just go to market. We just go to market. That's it. We're not in here. We're not like Ventura condo wizards. We're just studying the market. We're just studying the market data, and we go to where the market tells us. And if you look at the market data, what it's really telling us right now, anyways, is that if you were going to sell your condo, you'd ask about $400,000. That's what it's really telling us. But it's still a gutted condo. So that's the reason for the increase. That's all the data that at this point. This is all the appraisal district has, are these sales. We have these 2 sales of a gutted condo, one of a real condo. I have no idea if there's listings out there. I have no idea. I didn't even look. But it doesn't matter, right? It's just a listing if there is. So I don't, if your condo is not worth $400,000, I'm not sure exactly what it's worth. I don't have I'm not sure, all I can tell you is of the data that I have now of the current sales, one in October, one in August, and one in September of 21. What the data would say is if you bought in the low 200s, out of every purchase that's happened in Mazatlan since the hurricane, you win. That's what the data says. You're the lowest purchase in Mazatlan since the hurricane. And that's it. Like you win. That's what it says. So You know, I don't know where the number should be if it's not 400. That's all I have.
Go ahead, you have 4 more minutes.
And I would say, to that point, if we don't know where value should be, how can we come through and say, basically, if you guys sitting at the board, can voice that you have no idea where the number should be.
No, I said if not 400. I didn't say I had no
Well,
idea.
if not, well, it's okay, but we'll just leave it at that. If not 400, we don't know where it should be. How can we honestly say that the value assigned today is a solid value? I mean, and I understand what you're saying about the data and everything else, but data, you can only take data so far and only a piece of the data. We're not factoring in my sale or my purchase price. We're not factoring in common elements. We're not factoring in things that may or may not factor into establishing value. You're only looking at one side of data. So how can we establish a true value of what the CAD is saying?
That's very fine.
Okay, Brian, you still have a couple of minutes. If there's anything else you want to add?
No, that's all I have. I mean, I just wanted to say my piece and, have a little discussion on it. I appreciate you guys' time.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
He said he appreciated our time. He doesn't have anything
I
else.
have nothing else to add.
In closing,
No, I don't have anything else to add. I appreciate you guys' time.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay, hold on, we're not through yet.
in closing, the district would, I would say, like this kind of stuff is my responsibility here at this place. If we had his data point and we just believed it was a market transaction, let me put that in there. But if we had studied it a little bit and had confidence, this is a good data point. Comp number 1 wouldn't even be in the grid. We would just comp free, sold, damaged, gutted condos. We don't have any dogs in this fight. There would have been 3 data points. We just didn't have the data point. And not having the data point for us is both the way that it works in the state of Texas, which is, I'm for disclosure. I love disclosure, or non-disclosure, that is. But this is one of the things that it causes is I don't know what to say about this thing now. I can't speak to it because it's not disclosed. I don't know what to say.
All right, Brian, you have 1 more minute if you need it, and the ARB will go to their deliberations.
No, ma'am, I think I'm good where I'm at. Thank you.
Okay, well, hold on, you can listen to our conversation.
Okay, Scott, could we see find out what the neighborhood adjustment board was here?
$120,
120.
correct.
Wow.
Well,
that explains the increase.
yeah, I have a thought. Brian indicated that they increase some place for which I certainly believe is. Looking at comp 3, which is a verified sale of an unfinished condo. Now, number 14 is the very end of the canal, the very last unit. But when it's comped out, it comes out to 378 to 10. Brian's condo is 8, so he's not on the end. We looked at these condos before, it's not at the end, it's somewhere down the side, not as far as 14. So I agree with him that I don't believe the value should be worth 10. Totally got it. Maybe pay anywhere close to that for it. I would be thinking somewhere maybe in the 378 range.
That's what I have.
Or if you take the difference and divide it in half, it's 398.
I think that's too high. It's too close to the 14. I don't know where you.
I'm fine with
378.
Yeah, I would actually maybe go a tad lower in light of the fact that it's 325 was the verified sale of unit 14.
Either,
Uh,
no,
But
I can't go that
don't
low.
forget,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
another 6 units down.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's a big value. He's like this one, very, he's right in the middle someplace. So I don't care.
I would be comfortable with 378,000.
Let's just make it 370.
371?
I'm good with that.
Just round and all.
Yeah.
And say, taking into consideration what he had verified, he paid for it, and the condition is currently, you want this to get solved. We're all okay with that?
Yes.
No,
All right.
I'm still stuck on 378. Yeah.
Around 3,000.
Make a motion.
You make a motion.
Case ID, 2022-1396, account 34893. Addressing incorrect, market equity levels. If listening to the protester, property owner, and the district, based on the information given to us regarding current sales and values of the tour apartments, and taking into consideration what the property owner paid for this condo that is got it. Fairly review board of opinion that we lower the value from 410 to 378, 200. I'm sorry, 375, 200.
I'll second.
All in favor?
I'm
Anybody opposed?
I'm opposed.
Okay, so we have 4 in favor and 1 opposed.
Brian, did you understand what we just did?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so your new appraised or set value 375, 200.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Thank y'all very much.
Welcome.
Okay.
Next.
You know, it's been, these are really nice. And it's been, well, what, 5 years of all this?
Yes.
I know, huh? It's been a long time.
But my understanding is that these, that after this level, and then turn it over to the purchaser.
Yeah.
the owners.
And they've been a better option though than the other, which would have been to assess them for the next stages. And then you have to.
McQueen is, east of San Antonio.
Yes.
On the,
I've never heard of it.
I haven't.
on the Guadalupe River.
Oh.
Series of lakes up there, like down Lake McQueen, there's 7 or 8 of them. To the east of San Antonio.
All right, we have an in-person, account number 64967, case number 1424.
It's right. Right under our. We just heard.
Oh.
Got it? Yes.
Mr. Packard, Miss Howard.
Yes, she is here.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Hi.
Okay. I have some administrative stuff to go through before we get into the specifics of your cases.
Okay.
We are commencing a hearing on case ID 2022-1424. Account number 64967, which is 1315 Baldery Lane in Rockville. This hearing is being recorded and streamed live on YouTube. Verify exactly what's under protest.
Market equity levels.
Okay, market protest or market inequity or under protest. So we are the appraisal review board that will be hearing your protest today. We do not work for the appraisal district. We are appointed to perform an independent review of your protest. At the end of the hearing, you may complete a survey regarding your experience The survey may be completed using the survey form, which is available here. It's also available, will be in the determination package you'll receive in the mail after the hearing, or you can take it online. All the information about how to return it is included on the top of that form. The survey itself is voluntary, however, we always appreciate any feedback that you may wish to offer. You also have the right to appeal our decision, and appeal information is included in the package that will be mailed to you to document our determination. In accordance with tax code section 41.45H, all written material and evidence that has not been provided must be provided at this time. We have a copy of all the evidence and we'll be referencing. Okay, great. The ARB members who are considering the protest have not communicated with anyone about the protest and are signing an affidavit to that effect. I, Scott Wagner, solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
I, Kathy Hoffman, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with a person in violation of tax code 41.66F.
I, Joanna Ferguson, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code 41.66F.
I, Ron McCann, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
I, Peggy Berg, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
All testimony from all witnesses must be given under oath. They will be asked to swear at this time. Beth will help you do that there.
Make this statement out loud, please. I do solemnly swear to affirm that the testimony I shall present to the Appraisal Review Board for the Aransas County Appraisal District is true and correct. And state your name. Lana Hacker.
I'm proxy to solemnly swear that someone in testimony shall present the appraisal review board for the Aransas County Appraisal District.
Okay, Lana, I need to ask whether you hold a license or certificate from the Texas Appraiser Licensing and Certification Board. Okay, fine. Underneath your pictures there is a chart which the hearing procedure times and how we're going to run the hearing today.
Okay.
Take two forms. One is if you present first or if the district presents first. You both have equal amounts of time in either case. And you get to choose which you would like to, how you'd like to proceed.
I would mind the district one first.
Take five.
Scott, if you could show everybody where we're at on pictometry, please. We've had a protest on Baldry Lane before, but you may not remember. So this is what's it called? Coral Reef. You know where that's at, Baldry Lane. This way is Portia. You're driving down this way, you're going to Palm Harbor, Bahia Bay. Driving that way on 35, you're going to Cove Harbor. So Baldry is a dead end street. It ends just a little bit past that, 1, 2, 3, maybe at the most 3 parcels past. The Sackers residence there. All right, so one question that I just want to ask right off the bat is, do you have a homestead somewhere else?
I no longer. I did at one time, but I've sold it, so.
Okay. All right, so sooner or later, maybe you're gonna homestead this place?
I thought we had, but I intend to.
Okay.
This
Let's
is
go.
the only property we own now.
You don't have a homestead somewhere else?
No.
And your driver's license has what address on it?
This address.
And you live there on the first of the year?
Yes, I've owned it for 5 years.
When did you live there?
For 5 years.
Let's just we're gonna look at some cells here. And the first cell is, I'm assuming this is next door. Baldry. This is a cell in October of 21 for 545. And then there is a second cell on Portia for 239. And there's a mobile home cell on Baldry for 284. the mobile home cell is in the grid because of it being on Baldwin. We're just, there's some activity on Baldwin in this last year. These cells are the reason that we raise the area. So you'll notice that the median value is 322. And the market value on the subject is 238, even with us raising it, we're, what is that, $80,000 low according to market. You can thank the 545 sale and the $284,000 mobile home sale for creating a big gap. You know, if all you had was that, it would seem like we're $80,000 low on the subject. When we look at equity, you'll see that we show that we're high on the subject. So the median equity value is 222. With an effort to deal with two things in the grid. One is being in the ballpark on the square footage and to try to control where we're only well, we're comparing similar classes of homes also. So comp number one is a class 3, a little bit smaller, comes out at 222. Comp number 2 is on Baldery, and it's a 4+, and it's newer. There's quite a bit of adjustments in this one here. But it is on Baldery, you know, comes out at 209. And then there is a class 3 home on Jim's Smokehouse Road. And it's close in age, comes out at 225. Comp number 1 and comp number 3 are the best comps in that little grid. So the appraisal district's opinion of value is 222. That's all I have.
Okay, Lana, you have 7 minutes also, if you want to ask the right questions or what.
Sure. First of all, the comps are not located next to an RV park. Mine is smack dab butt up against an RV park. The RV park is shady at best. They don't have any regulations. They have very old mobile homes that they allow in there. I don't have police records that I could have brought and didn't think to bring. But the police are very familiar with this RV park that smacks up against, that butts up to me.
Could you put the pictures up?
Their RV park, when you drive down Baldwin from 35, that's across the street. So that would be coming in, but if we, okay, let me explain the pictures if I can. If you go up to where you were, or go down, please. This is coming into Baldwin. And this is an industrial building. So right when you turn onto my street, this is what you will see. If you, it is not, that's an excellent picture. If you can scroll down, you can see that it is not maintained. There's trash everywhere, but that's neither here nor there. So if you'll keep going, this is the industrial park that's on the corner. There are quite a few there's not maintained whatsoever. There's broken bones. The next thing you will see on Baldry going to my house on the left-hand side, which is the side I live on, is broken down equipment that's been there called the city. I don't know why it's never been cleaned or it's allowed. I don't know who owns the land, but this is the next parcel past the corner industrial. It's full of, there's a crane in there, there's an old equipment, just broken, rusted, just there. There's another picture of the same stuff. And if you go forward, down, keep going down or going up maybe. This is the RV park that's next to me. This is the nicest one. It has they live there full time. It's a very small RV. They sit out, drink beer all day. That's the kind of place it has. This is the picture. There's the RV park. If you'll continue, that's the new one that they just brought in, and this is front center on Baldry Lane. You will see this when you drive to my house. This is my property line. That's my fence post. And that's the RV park next to it. They had attempted to clean it up. But then this is new, this is coming in. Now this is my fence that you'll see on the right-hand side. This is me pulling out of my driveway, going towards the highway 35, and the RV park on the left. That used to be all brush, so I couldn't see that old RV park. That's between Baldry and Smokehouse Road. That RV park it's well maintained somewhat. It's older, but it's not anything like the one that's smack dab next to me, where there's, domestic violence and all kinds of things that are allowed. But my point here is they removed the brush and they brought in 2 mobile homes. So now I pull out and I see mobile homes that are rented out. This is my backyard. And I wanted to show that fence line, and that's my fence line with the RV park next door. And if you'll continue, this is the back of the RV park. If you go up a little or down more, down. This is the house that I see from my back porch that the owner of the RV park was living in. And that's what I look at. So I don't feel that my values, because I live next to this RV shithole, would be comparable to the recent sale. And my comment to the recent sale of the high value of the house that sold, that caused the increase, it was a young girl that came across with a windfall of money. And the house, she's not next to any of the RV park or anything. She's between me and then a parcel of land that is vacant. So she doesn't have to see anything once she pulls into her place. She came into some windfall of money, and I believe she's a young girl. She got excited about that place. It had a large pool, and she purchased it. I believe she paid $575 for it. Quite honestly, I think she's out of her living mind, because I could never get that for my land, especially right next to the RV. And as I demonstrated, coming into that street, you see nothing but trash and things that are not taking one care of.
You have like a minute or more.
I think that's all I had to say.
Right? Yeah. 4 minutes.
Scott, can you put that on Mosaic, please?
Sure.
And we would agree that you can't get 575 for the subject house, for sure.
Now, my house is a lot older than theirs as well.
We're reporting a value of 222. Zoom out some more, Scott. That's what I'll talk a little bit about why we did what we did. It's this right here is sold. She 575, 545. It doesn't really matter.
Right.
And then on Baldry also 35494 sold. Right here, this sold.
Yeah.
And if you look in our sales ratio report that's in our evidence, you'll also see that this sold and go this way, and this sold. So in this area in 2021, sell, 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 sell. We changed values. That's what we did. We changed these values. I don't know if did we even get close to 545? So this place sold for 545, right? Or 575, it doesn't matter. We have 445. We agree. This should not have sold for 575. It shouldn't have. It's too much money. That's why.
Crazy.
That's why we're at 545. I mean, 445. We didn't get there. We're not there. 445. We think this is worth 222. This is a crummy RV park. This isn't a great RV park. This is Shady Oaks. The name is Shady Oaks.
Yeah.
But it's shady as in not shady. You know, there's two words.
There's
Shady as in not
what
shady.
we also have.
But here's the thing, if the person that bought here, the person that bought here, here and here, they all drive past this. And furthermore, I don't even think this house is very old. This dude built a house here. I'm pretty sure that house is within the last 3 years.
That
4 years.
was, the
That's Miss
bigger,
Baldwin.
that's Mrs. Baldwin's son, so the son was gifted the land.
Yeah,
So he was able to build a house. He's a young man, yes. So he was able to build.
so,
Where's the road?
it really ends right here. It gets a little crummy right here.
And it's a dirt road.
But this is, you know, this guy right here paid 280 for a mobile home, double wide right there. So, you know, our opinion is that's 222. We can't prove what the market says it would sell for because of equity. It's part of the ad valorem appraisal that you have to prove equity. So an appraisal district can't just say, we know that this would sell for over 300,000 or 300,000. We have to prove equity. We have, in equity, we're proving 222. In comparison to neighbors that didn't have to sell.
Right, but they don't have to live next to it, the people that bought, and they don't see it on a daily basis. So being right next to the very unfavorable RV park and seeing all of that on a daily makes a huge difference from accepting driving down the road and seeing the crap once you get down the road and you're in all of that area, then, I mean, you never see it. You don't have to live with it. Whereas we see it on a daily from the front, driving in from the back, it doesn't matter. We see it, we hear it. It's a big difference and it would definitely skew the value. I mean, we paid 130,000 for it. And a month before Hurricane Harvey.
Jeez, I think it was good.
You know, I'm gonna give my favorite speech here, and that's that we all, I know a lot of stuff about my neighbor. I know a lot of reasons why people should choose to live somewhere else. But it never, in the overall scheme of things, it doesn't influence people from buying in my neighborhood. I know where the bad dogs are, I know where the drug houses are, I know where there's problems. I think what the market is telling us is even with a glaring problem, which this is true in Aransas County, you can have a pretty bad problem and people still buy all around you.
All around me, but not that particular location.
And if that's the position that you can, we just can't make that position because we don't think that the market is saying that this one property here wouldn't sell. But we do think what it's saying is that the equity that there's an equity problem with our 238. And the equity is 222. That's all I have.
But then you did mention, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
But you did mention that your opinion was based on the recent sales. And stated that you did agree that that property would not produce what the other properties would.
Yeah, because we're also not valuing you at 500,000. We're not valuing you at some. We're not even valuing you at what that mobile home sold for. We're valuing you at less than that. They're at 2.8. They sold
I
at
think
2.8.
did they have more land?
They might, yes.
Because that would,
It's right here.
yeah, that would make a difference.
Sure, but we're not valuing you there. We're not valuing you the same, and that land's pretty big. I'm not sure that this
It's
land,
4 acres.
yeah, I'm not sure what that
A
is.
little over 4.
But yeah, I mean. And that's all I.
Okay.
ARD has 5 minutes now to deliberate.
Could, Scott, is there a way to see where that smokehouse road is? With the way you get to Baldwin? Oh, it's next one.
I kind of feel like, some of the things that Lana said, she are correct, these other people. Living just surrounding on the back one side, and wherever she looks at in the property, they are. Down the road. Yeah, they have to go out past the same stuff, but they don't have to look at them every day. I don't know.
Let's go back, what's in front of her? That area, is that the RV park?
That's Old Lady
Over there.
Baldry. That's
Over
already
there.
there.
So it's not directly across from you.
It's directly next to me.
That area there?
Yeah, is that all the same RV park or two different ones?
Two different RV parks. I've got one across the street and one next to me, smack dab next to me. And the place across the street is an older lady who has owned that property for years. And if you'll see on her property, just bring pictures, she's got, trash, just old boats, old stuff, but she doesn't have means to do anything with it. It's just all piled
About
up.
that property. Right?
Yeah, right across the
Yeah,
street.
so right across the street, one down would be to the right is the RV park you're talking about.
No,
sorry.
I'm talking about the RV park that's right next to me.
Okay,
This right here.
Yeah,
That's
what's
my
in there?
house, and then the RV park is right next door. So
okay,
that
right
right
next to it, okay, and then you said across from you is an RV park.
That's the
And that's-
trash.
Oh, the trash, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, Scott, what's the neighborhood adjustment?
Nothing.
35% increase just in neighborhood adjustment.
I'd be willing to go with one on this property. Two, I know 222 is the equity value. On that, I would consider it 200,000. She has some issues. And so when buying.
I could go 2,000. I mean, 2,000.
That's fine with me. I had 209 in my head, but 200.
200 is what I was protesting for, or originally.
Your
Did you-
opinion of
My
that?
opinion,
That's
I-
your opinion.
Put that, okay. I guess I didn't see that on.
I'm good with And just before she makes the motion, the whole neighborhood received a 35% increase. Everybody. So that's, I know it doesn't make it,
It
they
does.
go away, but that's
does.
the
The
part of
reality.
it, yeah. Okay,
If I do 2022 to 144, down 64967, addressing the market value and median equity value. After listening to the protester, property owners' comments and those of the district, its opinion of ARB that was based on a lot of economic developments in the neighborhood, close by. And we are continuing to lower the value from 280,440.
It's 238,000.
It was 238,440.
Yeah.
And we're lowering it to 200.
all in favor? Anybody opposed? Okay, Lana, you understand the new value?
Yes, thank you.
Okay,
Be sure and check on your homestead exemption.
you need to do that,
Out here at this,
Okay,
desk.
okay.
and I'm pretty sure since you've been in it for quite a while, it can be applied retroactively. Yes.
Okay,
And that,
We'll save you.
okay. What about, my husbeing or that?
that may have an effect as well. Is he disabled?
No, he's not.
Oh, okay. I think there's a disabled that,
Okay,
Homestead and over 55 if applicable.
okay, okay. Thank you very much for hearing me today.
Good luck out there.
I can't tell if they can cut it. Fingerprints on
No,
it
you
or
can
not.
have it.
Ain't no touch it.
Yeah, you pull back a note on that.
Well, I kind of have a little, I don't want to keep reaching over. I don't
You got a
want Rod to
doctor's
do what I'm doing.
Yeah, you know, but
One
you
time.
know,
Doctor will know
the goal
tomorrow.
is moving down this.
Wednesday, wait. Tomorrow,
Oh,
yeah, that'll show up tomorrow morning.
I drink a lot more. Oh, sorry. That's a very regular time.
Cause I tried that.
You know,
Yes.
yes, once you start, maybe I'll go next week.
They need this one.
All right, we do have one more affidavit. But before we do that, I do need to ask. We have a 130, account number 15790, who would like to switch to phone. Yeah. All right, so the affidavit is going to be account 58025, case number 1389.
We don't have it.
We're on the 10th still. It's for today. We're on today at 10 o'clock.
Number again?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the case number.
Oh, yeah, here it is, about page one bottom. And this is what is this, an affidavit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ready? Ready or not, we're opening the hearing on case ID 2022-1389, account number 58025, which is 303 Rose Street in our court. This hearing is being recorded and streamed live on YouTube. And we should verify what's in the protest. Yeah. Market and equity. Okay, market and equity, and also note that there is a homestead. Yeah. Excuse me. We are the appraisal review board that will be hearing the protest today. We do not work for the appraisal district. We are appointed to perform an independent review of the protest. The protester has the right to appeal our decision, and appeal information will be provided to the protester with our determination. In accordance with tax code section 41.45H, it is assumed that all written material and evidence has been provided with the affidavit, and I do see that there is a fair amount of evidence provided. Yep, and we have a notarized signed affidavit. The ARB members who are considering the protest have not communicated with anyone about the protest and are signing affidavits to that effect. I, Scott Wagger, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
I, Kathy Hoffman, do solemnly swear that I am communicated with the system in violation of tax code 41.66.
I, Joanne Ferguson, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code 41.66F.
I, Ron Can, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
I, Katie Bird, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
All testimony from all witnesses must be under oath.
I request to do solemnly swear in front of the testimony I shall present to the appraisal review board for the grants and the district.
District representative will now read the affidavit into the record.
Okay, the property one is the owner's name. Email address and stuff like that. We won't repeat that. And section 2 is the property description, this is property under protest, 303 Rose Street. If you think about where is Rose Street, it runs, the road right next to More Than Feed is Stewart. And then the next road is Row.
Hmm.
So More Than Feed, Stewart, and Row. And then like that's that doggy daycare place, whatever it's called, Salty Dog. Yeah, so that's the property right there, 58025. Section 4 is evidence. It says there's 2 pages. There's additional pictures, but in this affidavit, there's 2 pages. Section 5, statement of facts or arguments. I have provided 2 pictures of the street in front of my property. Looking careful, you will notice water does not stand too far down the road in either direction. Drainage is a major issue. The water does not drain, which causes the phone, internet service disruption. Culverts are not maintained. There are drug dealers living down my road. With that comes speeding cars and police being called repeatedly. I've had to install cameras due to safety concerns of the transients walking down the road all hours of the night to get a fix. I feel the comps that were used are not reasonable, fair, and equitable comparison to mine. I have to get a new air conditioning unit, as the one I have is 14 years old. The most expensive bid is inexpensive bid is $12,000. I also have wood rot and termite damage that needs attention. Section 6 is I intend to be to appear by telephone conference call for the hearing. This affidavit and the evidence with this may be used for the hearing if I do not appear in person. Section 7 is the name and signature. It was notarized in San Patricio. Mary Ann Sellers is the has signed it, and the notary is Chrissy Bode or Bodie. And it was the 20th of June, 2022. That's the end of the affidavit, and there's going to be a couple of pictures here. And one of the pictures is looking down Rose Street with Market Street behind you. It's very possible that the wood fence that you see on the left, and we can verify this with Picto, but I think that might be their house is where that wood fence is. Which is it's a good representation. And then this is in their driveway, looking kind of back towards Market at an angle. If you're from Rockport and have been here a long time, that yellow house right across the street is where Moore's daycare used to be. If you're not from Rockport, that is
So I'm not from Ron.
okay. There was a daycare there for a million years, and every kid in town went to it. So go to Picto style and let's see if that fence is in fact. I'm pretty sure that fence is the subject. Yeah, there's that fence. So in that photo, when she was showing water sits. It really sits in their driveways. I think she was explaining that in her affidavit, that it's not necessarily way down the road.
Yeah.
It's just right at their place. So go to the other picture, looking the other way, and I'm pretty sure that's what she was saying.
So straight ahead is, no, it's just straight.
Dead ends.
That's looking north.
Yeah.
That's road.
Yes,
And
yes.
so, but where all the water is, it's coming off of Market.
Yeah, it looks like it floods from right around her house, maybe all the way back towards Market, or pretty good ways in this picture anyways.
Okay.
Which kind of makes sense. When we do have really bad rains, Market is pretty bad.
It was real bad there.
Yeah, so that might be all part of this, drainage, who knows? If it's just low spots, if it's poor drainage, if it's all of the above.
Yeah, because it's in the middle of the street, and you usually see it more at the corner.
Yeah, something's low right here. Now that we've seen that, we'll jump into to the comp grid here and just kind of look around. And we'll look at some stuff. So this is Rose Street, we've got a sell on Hood Street. Or pretty small house, a 700 square foot house, comp to a 3,000 square foot house. But it's in the general neighborhood. Sold for $250 in November of 21, and then there's a comp on Nepal Street, North Street, which I believe is essentially behind us. I'm pretty sure that it's just, where are we? I think it's right back there, if I remember correctly. Sold for $208.
Looks like a new house. Really built.
It is,
house.
it's a 2020, it's kind of a crummy comp. But it's okay, it just depends on how you look at it. This comp isn't easy to do. A 3,000 square foot house in this particular neighborhood is not gonna be easy to comp. And so we're avoiding going to places that, you know, you'd just be like, well, that's not the right location. So we're just dealing with this. Then there's another comp on Noble or on Latron, I'm sorry, which is by Noble Street or whatever, however you say that. It's a small house again. It's a 2014. It's a little bit older. Sold for $201. And then out of all the stuff that I'm showing you, comp number 4 is going to be your best comp. Out of all this stuff, it's Stewart Street. So this is one street over. And sold for $247. And it's 1,100 square feet. And the subject is 3,000 square feet. Sold for in December for $247.
This sold for
Do we have a picture of,
47.
you know, subject from the grid?
Say that again.
Do you have a picture of the subject from the grid?
Like just the aerial.
Just the.
It's hard to see it. It's hard to see it because the way it's, you know, there's some privacy here with these guys. They have a fence out there. And so this is the property under protest.
Oh,
The
house and plus the.
Yeah, and right, they've got some stuff going on.
Or these.
Yeah, and it's fenced off. They, you know, they're protecting themselves there. That's not an easy place to comp in this neighborhood.
No.
So, you know, this is really a tricky thing for us. You can look at our comps and tell that we're avoiding doing the obvious thing, which is to comp Oak Terrace. But then if you comp Oak Terrace to this, that's not a great thing to do either, you know. It's not an easy comp. There's a lot going on here. All that to say, it's our job to, we have to prove value. So we can't have an excuse, so to speak, but that's why these comps are kind of all over the place. Again, the best comp, go ahead.
Yeah, it's got flatbed trailers, it's got shop, it's got,
Yeah,
yeah, it's a big house, it's a.
But it's
nice
also,
size
at
lot.
least the yard looks well maintained and organized. There's no.
Yeah,
no,
yes.
it's very,
Yeah,
it's
it's very
they do a good job. They do a good job. They've done a good job.
I see the fence now at the bottom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, protecting their stuff and see, that's Oak Terrace behind them. So,
So you're saying if you went to Oak Terrace, that would probably just throw that up? The
yeah,
value
the
more?
truth is, the reality is if you pick this house up
Yeah,
and you took all that stuff and you moved it 2 streets over,
yeah.
a lot of these problems would kind of disappear.
Mhm.
And this house would be worth something similar
Mhm.
to what things are worth over here.
Yeah.
But you could ask yourself a pretty decent question here is, like we have 316 on this property. And I mean, just to be honest with everybody here and be above board, if this house was for sale for 316, and then a house over here was for sale for, say, 330,
Mhm.
I would probably be tempted to buy that house every time.
Mhm.
Probably just because of the stuff. I would just probably would pick
And the
up Terrace.
location.
Yeah, the location just, I mean, I get it. I don't know what, yeah, anyways, we're gonna prove all kinds of numbers here. So in equity, we're at 377. And that's because we don't have to deal with the sales. And we are just comping large homes at this point. Larger homes. And so, 377 is equity. I do not think the house is worth 377. Sales 341. We're not saying that it's worth 341. We're kind of turning it over to you guys, I think. I'm not sure what the right thing to do on this property is. There's an element to the property that's hidden on purpose, which is, again, something I think I've told you guys before I'm in favor of. I think that people should conceal what they have. And I think they've done that. So there's like some things we don't know because there's not a clear picture of the house. There's just a picture of the roof line. And we have a picture of the fence. So who knows? Maybe it's the Taj Mahal. I don't know. But probably not.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, ARB, 5 minutes. I kind of think it's probably worth 316, but.
Yeah.
My impression is it's because of the land and everything.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's more than
last,
stuff
but,
on.
and the neighborhood's not that bad compared to some others we've seen.
It doesn't look like it's surrounded by junk. That's the other ones.
A lot of improvements on that land, I think.
What's the,
Good value.
Yeah, if you look at those outbuildings, those are not, they don't look like cheap outbuildings.
I'm hearing a lot
It's
of.
well below equity and it's significantly below. 100.
Yeah.
And they are, this is a homestead, right?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I can't, unfortunately, I can't see anything
No, I can't.
to come off a bunch. The sales comps suck. I mean, it's just, I'm not even gonna look at those. And,
It's hard to comp because of the size of this. and
Yeah.
The size of the other properties surrounding it, but it looks pretty big.
Well, and then he said that the number 4 was probably the best, and that's rated at a 4SS plus. And I look at this thing and I think, where?
If you look at blow the picture up of the house on the property card, and it looks really nice.
On the property.
Oh, you're talking about the Sunday property?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a ranch style.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with the district on this one.
Yeah.
Me too.
I'll stick with it.
That's where I'm
Yeah.
and that's a great picture from Picto is, there's a lot of stuff there.
at.
It's very neat and well kept. Excellent. Okay. We have a motion on case ID 2022-1389, account 58025. Addressing market and equity values. The ARB is of the opinion that the district proved that the current noted value on the property, 316,190, is if anything below market net value and should stand.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, that closes this hearing.
Yeah. Okay. Pretty nice here.
There, I said exemption helps.
It really does.
2,000.
Yeah. Okay. Next. I just had some candy. So. Jackie,
Moving forward down.
Yay. That one maybe gets you finding this morning. And then better to do a car affidavit. Okay, there is one more on the tablet. You got print out the affidavit.
God, it looks well, too. I'm just going back to see.
Yeah, I blew up a picture, comes
Yeah. Look at
Comes with a-
that, 60
a
or
guy.
160.
that stands on the porch drinking the beer too.
Yeah. So that makes it okay.
Yeah.
14928.
And look at the birdhouse. That's neat. What are we talking, what do you know? Oh, we're just going back.
Oh,
to-
y'all still there?
Yeah. Because the more you look, the more you find these little treasures.
Yeah. You know, it's best if you don't make your place look nice. Just the inside.
I was always told,
Don't cut your trees
never
back.
complete the outside of my,
Yes.
I was buying rentals, that's what they said.
Well, I can't do that.
I can't either.
No,
It is what it is.
Live with results.
My husband and his grandson are rebuilding our dock and there's stuff all over and it's like, oh, I'm so glad I'm going to work. I don't have to deal with this every day, you know? Cause they go from one project, oh, let's do this.
I never finished the third.
Make sure he stays on.
Oh, he is.
And they are.
They are.
Okay.
Good, yes.
Is this in our?
Yeah, it's under the,
In the tablet.
What
Yeah.
number? It is 14928.
yes, it's under agenda 11, affidavits folder.
The last one she had on there. She just had.
She did, there you go. It'll be a lot.
You're such a.
All right, we'll assume that Ray or somebody will show up.
Never assume.
So we're commencing. We're commencing here on case ID 2022-372. Count number 14928. This hearing is being recorded and streamed live on YouTube. Verify what's recorded as. And on the affidavit is.
We're discussing what's under protest.
It's incorrect value and
Is it O'Connor?
yes,
1, 2, and 5.
What is it?
1, 2, and 5.
What is 5?
Other,
I know, but did it say anything?
No.
there's 1, 2, and
no, it's.
Yeah, they always.
Okay, back to reality. We are the review board, the appraisal review board that will be hearing this protest today. We do not work for the appraisal district. We are appointed to perform an independent review of the protest. Protester has the right to appeal our decision, and appeal information will be provided to the protester with our determination. In accordance with tax code section 41.45H, it is assumed that all written material and evidence has been provided with the affidavit. I do see a signed and notarized affidavit. The ARB members who are considering the protest have not communicated with anyone about the protest and are signing an affidavit to that effect. I, Scott Wagner, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66.
I got Malcolm to solemnly swear that I communicated with the person in violation of tax code 41.66.
I, Joanne Peterson, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code 41.66F.
I'm on the can do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with this person in violation of tax code section 41.66.
I, Peggy Berg, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66.
All testimony from all witnesses must be given under oath.
I reckon cities on this swear that that's my shot.
Okay, the district representative will now read the affidavit into the record.
before I read the affidavit into the record, let me read you guys this protest so that we, well, good news here, we've been through this. I don't know whether, when you guys give your, what's it called? When you make your motion. Okay, when you make your motion, we're supposed to address the things that are under protest, right? That's the legal way to do it. Listen to their protest. So that when we say, what are they protesting? This is their protest. Reasons for the protest include that the value is over market, that the value is unequal compared with other properties, uniform and equal protest is in parentheses. In addition, the protest also includes that the property is appraised excessively. The property is appraised unequally. There may be a denial of appropriate exemptions. There may be improper classification. There may be an inaccurate description of the property with regard to size, location, year built, quality, grade, condition, or other factors without limitation. Finally, the protest includes all actions by the chief appraisal district and appraisal review board that applies to and adversely affects the property owner, including actions or inactions by the appraisal review board, the chief appraiser, or the appraisal district representative appearing at any hearing. During any protest, that violates provisions of the Texas Property Tax Code. It also includes actions of the chief appraiser, appraisal district, and appraisal review board prior to or after the hearing. So,
Where are we reading?
it's
On the protest letter.
yeah, because we've stated in the past that the protest itself is the thing that's the legal documentation, right? And then when someone sends in an affidavit, we always say, well, what did the original protest say? This is their original protest. It's and I just want you guys to be aware that when we're doing this O'Connor stuff, and we ask the question, what's under protest? I'll ask you guys, what's under protest? I mean, everything, right? Is one way to say it. Everything's under protest.
But I think when the guy was here, didn't we ask him that question? And he said basically that it was market equity, or am I making that up?
He probably said that.
I think he did.
Probably did.
Well,
Because I remember
Yeah,
there
but
was no
he's not
all
here.
checked. Really affected me. I believe we had this conversation.
You probably did when Chris was here. I would assume.
I remember asking.
I just want you guys to be aware that that's what the protest says. Those are the words that it says, and it covers.
In the letter, it covers that.
I don't know, you guys have to talk about that. I mean, it's possible
Okay.
that you could just reference the letter and that it speaks to everything. I don't know. I don't have a good answer for it. It's written by, it's written by a lawyer. So,
Of course.
I mean, what are you supposed to do to cover all your bases? I'm not real sure. I just wanted to be careful with that bit of information.
Well, when
I think we.
you said that it's written by a lawyer,
Well, I mean, it looks written by a lawyer.
well, but it's signed by O'Connor.
And he's,
Either where.
He's a certified
Can't
appraiser.
we? He said he's.
He has the certification, but he wasn't using it in this.
Yeah, and
application.
okay.
that's when you use it, there's rules.
Mhm.
Couldn't we handle this that we can address this letter and say that we understand what's under protest, but our information has been given to us that basically Q1 and Q2 are under protest, and that's what we're addressing. Can we do that?
Because the protest form that he filled out checked 1 and 2.
Well, but this is in writing. It
This-
does.
yeah.
How do we address all those?
I think when we get through it, when we get through the evidence, I think we will find that that the only thing that is addressed in the evidence is Q1 and Q2. And that in the motion, we can refer to these other things and say, there was no evidence provided to address those items.
I appreciate that. I just, again, I wanted to say that we're gonna do a lot of these, and I don't want us to halfway through it, find out, oh my goodness.
Yeah, and before we continue, I wanna, as you scroll down through the letter, there's a whole raft of data, right?
Those are protests. That's how they protest.
Yeah, right, but the thing is, there is another letter,
Okay,
Wait,
which I wanna make sure we
sure,
speak at to make sure.
sure.
So all these ones.
It's on
are
about page
boxes, those are all
25.
protested here.
Yeah, you're right, Ron.
Oh, that's not even funny.
Okay, yeah, I see that, to the chief appraiser. Didn't even know that was there.
What page is it?
It looks like it's,
25.
yeah.
But
25.
No, this has to do with them receiving from us
Data.
evidence, yeah. There's laws, there's property tax code that speaks to that, and they're telling us, follow that tax code. That's what they want from us. So.
And you know, I've had this conversation before, and there have been cases where people, and I had never seen O'Connor request this, but you know, we have heard it before. They want to dump of all the databases that are used by tax, okay, which have been given in the past, which is interesting stuff. I don't think anybody ever uses.
So I'm gonna go ahead and go into the evidence now that we've, kind of thought about that a little bit. Because I do think that we're gonna see that there's just a couple of things that are really talked about. So in the affidavit, there is the property owner. And his, in this case, it's not, the mailing address is 135 Ocean Drive, which is also the property under protest. And in the property description, there's a legal description given for that particular address, Vernon Danforth. Legal description. Section 3 is reasons for protest, and what's checked is incorrect appraised market value, and value is unequal compared with other properties. And section 4 is evidence, 2 pages. Section 5 is statement of facts. It says made an observation in the market data, determined median from recent sales, see attached comps, equity and market data, opinion of value or OPV equals 635,000. The next section here, which is section 6, says I do not intend to appear at the hearing, either in person or by telephone conference call. This affidavit and the evidence and or argument submitted with it may be used at the hearing if I do not appear in person at the hearing. And then it's signed in the county of Aransas by Robert Martin, and Bria Nicole Smith is the notary on June 10th of 2022. Section, this next part is when we get into their file, essentially, for their opinions and their statements. So we have the owner name and address and legal description, and then we also have that it's the tax year of 2022 and the market appraised value of $690,060 from the appraisal district. We have a valuation from 2022 and 2021 and 2020 showing the values in those years, and you can see that the living space has not changed and the land size has not changed. But there have been changes in appraised value, there have been changes in land value at least once, and there have been changes in market from 590 in 20 to 689 in 21 to 690 in 22. Says that sale and listing data is not available for subject within the last 3 years. And there's a market data that says sales comparison allows estimating the market value by comparing the subject property to other properties which recently sold or are listed for sale with some factors. And then we have the subject property, 2002 build, land value is $295. Extra features not available, land size 7,600 square feet, improvement 394,000. Typical property for the neighborhood is a 2,800 square foot house with an improvement value of 549. Land size 14,800, land value 417,000, year built 1771. And the next one is typical sold property for neighborhood, 2,595 square feet, 478 improvement value, 12,000 square feet land, 416,000 land value, and 1991. And then there's some grids down here. We've actually looked at this because we did an Ocean Drive property just a second ago from them. So some of this data is very similar. The next one shows the comp that sold for $1,034,000 and gives some information on sale price per square foot versus market value price per square foot on the subject. Does a comparison there and says that that the sale price at $323.83 a square foot spits out a market value of $635,031. And then there's equity. And there's an equity grid. Proposed appraised value of 548.7. Their proposed appraised value of 548,747 is from equity. It's kind of hard for me to tell in this. I want to handle this correctly. I'm having to make the assumption they don't put any words about equity right here, but it's where it says median adjusted value per square foot, 279.83. That's the median of, yes, okay, of those equity comps. It's the second comp, and then 548,747 is proposed appraised value.
The 635.
Yeah, but they do have a 635 opinion of value, and they're not having an opinion of equity. All right, so that's the end of their evidence. All I would say as a cross-examination type of thing is to use the 323 to derive at a sales market value ignores that the 323 is derived from a property that is 1,200 square feet bigger. And so we have a 351 per square foot value. If we were to do the math this way, and it's my opinion that they should have some sort of factor in here dealing with economy of scale and size, because there's a huge difference between those two houses and they're not adjusted. All right. Let's see what our evidence says. We are on our first two comps for our Ocean Drive. One of the comp number 2 is the one that they're referencing. We're making adjustments. And for us, our adjustment in that particular comp is $8,000. On the first comp, it's $687. We've got 2 more comps. These are in Palm Harbor. One sold for 4, one sold for 711. Pretty decent comps here, indicating a median value of 738. We have a market value of 690. Equity, we have a median equity value of 739. We have some class 6s and even a class 4 in the grid. Goodness gracious, we have to look at that. 14931, Scott, if you can put a note in that account. Just for class. That's it. That's all we got.
Beautiful property. Yeah. I have the comps that you guys use on Palm Harbor. They decide for the classification of the house, but they don't have the view that these houses have on. Kind of have an issue with those comps, but I think value of this property is well supported. So it's a big house and it's how much you know.
Can we get a better idea of where this is at?
Sure.
Pull that up on Big Telephone.
Right down the street from all.
Again, it's on their phone.
Yeah.
It's about 2 doors, 3
Zoom out a
doors.
little bit, Scott.
Harbor's right behind it, so they really don't have the same rules.
No, they don't have anything anymore.
So that's the plan.
Okay, okay. Okay. Yeah, okay.
That's right. I think anything on that street, unless it's been one of the way older houses that are out here. They're pretty pricey, land alone. What do we have, 690 or 60, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh, well, under.
It's undervalued.
Oh.
Yeah, I can't see the change there, the. Who's that? And it was 14,915. Yeah,
It's a small lot, but I can tell you that most of those lots, especially the bigger ones, they're between 400,000 and 500,000 just to be lot.
I'm okay with the value.
Yes.
Great location and comps are there and equity, and it does show that it's even lower than what comp sales and equity, so.
Foreman. What was the?
690.
So actually. It's a little under, isn't it?
It's where the side was there. Substantial.
It's a big house, I mean,
$1 million view.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you okay with that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, property ID 14928. Addressing all the issues that were presented by Connor in the letter have not been addressed in their evidence.
And you should probably run through them real quick. Bring it up if you want. That's okay. I can do it.
I will write the letter from the board of people.
Here, check, here we go.
I'm going to start off and then. My property ID 14928. Addressing issues that were presented by O'Connor, that evidence was not presented for include. That the value is, we did discuss the market value and the equity value. However, we did not discuss, protest also includes that the property is appraised excessively, the property is appraised unequally. There may be a denial, an inappropriate exemption, there may be improper classification. There may be an inaccurate description of the property with regard to size, location, year built, quality, grade, condition, or other factors without limitation. Finally, the protest includes all actions by the chief appraiser, the appraisal district, and appraisal review board that apply to and adversely affects the property, including actions or inactions by the appraisal review board, the chief appraiser, or the appraisal district representative, appearing at any hearing during any protest that or any protest hearing, violating provisions of Texas property code. It also includes actions of the chief appraiser, appraisal district, and appraisal review board prior to or after the hearing. Say that. As in, as no evidence was provided regarding these protests. Therefore, the appraisal district, the appraisal review board is simply looking at incorrect market and equity values. And after looking at evidence presented by the property, by the agent, or the property owner, in the district, ARB is of the opinion that the current noted value of 690,060 should stand.
I'll second.
All in favor? Anybody opposed? Yeah,
Was long.
well,
Can we be through with them?
For the day? I don't think so that, I agree with that. I just need to be allowed a,
Rather than reading the whole thing in?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I just need to reference the agent on a record again for O'Connor. It's PID 67323, just for the record. And then I did make case listings for y'all, for the O'Connors. I put them together to help try to keep them kind of organized.
What a
You're so good.
You,
Organized.
Yeah, we're trying.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
we don't have any other 10 o'clock.
I know y'all are hungry.
No, no.
Oh, no, no.
We
already got it. I don't know, somebody keeps bringing big old bags of that candy.
Oh, I can't imagine who, include some of the ones with animal or just all one they have not.
It may include the one you just did. And then, of course, the one I just read out loud, I'm gonna take off because some of the agent out of record ones will be on the case.
Okay, and are they pretty much in order as we're going to get them, or are we gonna have to hunt?
They may be, that's probably
Somewhere.
not, yeah, because they're all on the same docket, so there's no way to tell PAX to print them out.
Okay.
Okay,
I think I'm right.
how are our tablets? Do we need to charge them?
Oh, we are going to learn? Oh, okay, good.
The drug on the premise one.
No, you don't have to. Sometimes they come back on when you do that anyway.
I do.
They have a mind of their own,
My TV does.
right?
I'll have one like this one. I think you guys can do
So we can ask you.
What do you think?
Isn't it right?
What time is it?
I almost will.
I was having way too much.
I know, really, are in the elephant.
Yeah, but I can't remember that, yeah. Okay. 1:30.
1:30 is.
Be careful.
Be here.
Going out this.
Okay.
And these are all O'Connors on this list here?
I do
Is
believe.
that right? I thought that's what
I bet he celebrates every day that he's not here.
They look like they're in case ID order.
There's notes.
Some. And those were just the single number ones, just so you know, but you'll have them in a little stack, you can pitch in the afternoon if you want.
I'll see y'all at 1:30.
Have fun.
Okay.
I need to make some phone calls.
Hey, Scott.
Yeah.
I think the thing went well this morning.
Oh, I think it was good.
Short and sweet.
Yeah, no, it was good after they finally